Welcome to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sterling Holmes, Jason, just the Drake back there. The Drake for Darcy. And Jack Johnson.
Double JJs.
Double JJs. Quad Js. So many Js that they might open a store.
I like it.
You come on, Drake. That was pretty good. That was decent. It was decent.
That's what commerce has to do with it, but okay.
You knew what I meant. No, Darcy. We hope he gets better. He's out with the flu. Couldn't have a flu game.
It's going around. It's not.
I just didn't want it. When he texted me that, I was more or less like, hey, yeah, text Drake. He's like, I might be able to fight through. I go, text Drake. Just text him. Don't get me sick. We at least need to have one person here. We can't have Darcy, Anderson, and myself out. That's just, what do you do? Jack, congratulations. 8 hours of radio a day.
Oh, man.
Fill in for some folk.
Yeah, I'd have to pass on that, too.
Yeah, you don't think so? That doesn't sound like
no flu game out of me.
No 8 hours of radio?
Couldn't do it.
Man, tough. All right, we're going to have a fun show today. A post-Christmas special. Jack, you're with us the first hour. Matt Derrick joins us at some point. He texted me. I texted him last night. Said, Merry Christmas. You're so good for tomorrow, right? He goes, I have nothing on tomorrow. I will be there as long as you need me. And I just said, hey, that's great. Come early if you want. Stay late. And he goes, basically, he's going to surprise me.
And he worked last night, too. So you talk about the hustle.
This is like a Christmas present. Oh, I bet he should at 11:10.
Yeah.
I bet he should have 10 minutes late.
Yeah, I would say, let's go 11:12 for me. It's like Price is Right.
11:12?
11:12.
Okay.
Anything after that, I'm closest.
Yeah, okay. Deal? And then we'll have Kendall Gammon, world's greatest long snapper, on at noon. No Mick Schaefer, he has off as well. Everyone taking off, but you know why? We don't. We're grinders. We're like the Chiefs. We're the Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey of this organization right here. Okay? We're not taking off. We've got a job to do. Do we have to talk about the game?
It's more fun to talk about than the Titans game. Oh, that was entertaining football. I think that was entertaining football for all four quarters.
Did you get any good presents, Jack?
I did, yeah. I got some good apparel I'll be able to show off next week. I got it in the wash right now, but some really cool merchandise things. It's always a great time to be opening presents and then realizing you got a game to watch. It's just different because in past years, you had the joy of opening presents. You had the joy of watching a football team and a football game that had a lot on the line of it. Yeah. And I guess they did for the Broncos in the quest for the 1 seed. But for the Chiefs, it was only about knocking off the Denver Broncos. If you didn't, you move up the top 10 in the draft boards, which now I believe they are sitting at 10. So that part of me, I call that an extra present.
Yeah.
You're picking top 10 right now, and if you lose the Raiders, you could be inside the top 10.
You said you got clothes and you're washing them right now. Do you wash them before you wear them? Is that a thing?
Sometimes.
Of course.
Yeah.
Do people do that?
Yes.
Why?
You don't know what kind of chemicals have been on there while they've been in delivery, or it's just a good form.
Somebody's got to put the clothes in the box too.
Oh no, I don't.
Plus, a lot of times they'll come with like fold lines on them, and you want to relax the fabric a little bit.
Oh no, I don't do that. I don't know if I've ever washed clothes.
We know.
Well, okay.
I was gonna say that's marked.
Let me.
You paused too long.
I paused too long. I wash clothes a lot. I like doing laundry. But when I first buy clothes, I don't wash them. Because once you wash them, they might shrink a little bit. They might, I don't know.
So you got to put different settings on.
Delicate.
Cold.
I always do cold, okay? But, sorry, I didn't know this was a thing. I didn't know people washed clothes before they wore them. Weirdos. They're new. Why am I washing new and making it old? Come on. What is this? What are we doing here?
Did you wipe down the top of a soda can before you drink out of it?
No. You don't actually do that, do you?
Sometimes.
This is why you're sick more than me. Okay? I have the antibodies built up. You're out here taking away all the germs. You want germs. Germs are good for you. Okay? I'm on this hill. I'll wash my hands. I do all these things. But we can't just Purell after using the gas station every single time. You're killing all the good antibodies. I don't know how this is the starter of the show, but we got here. That's how we got here. Good job, Jack.
Hey, I just said I got some good gifts.
All right, 2013, Chiefs fall. Oladokun, 66 yards. It was a grind. I was happy for Chris Oladokun. It was fun seeing him and his family there. It was a great opportunity for him. He's going up against one of the top 3 best defenses in the NFL. But when you look at it, this is a little bit of what I'm saying. Scheme's not great. Practice squad core. I mean, where does Chris Oladokun fit in this organization? He has one more game to showcase. Can he be the backup into next year? If that's the case, where's your confidence level? 10 being, yeah, I'm confident that he could be the backup. 1 being, no chance. I know it's been a game and a half-ish. He looked better against the Titans. I thought he looked better against the Titans overall. Where's your confidence level of Chris Oladokun as the potential backup?
There's a few factors that go into this for me. If Chris Oladokun goes out there and he beats the Raiders and he throws for 180 to 200, I mean, it's an efficient football game. I feel he at least deserves to be in the conversation. And the second part to this is, well, where's Patrick Mahomes going to be at? Right? Is Patrick Mahomes going to miss the first couple weeks of the season?
Well, we won't know until a lot later on.
I know.
It's going to be...
It'll be... I bet they'll get a good idea around the end of spring and how he's progressing. Things can always speed up, but we'll have a good idea about how he's tracking, how the rehab is gone, and at that point, what they're preparing to do with their backup quarterback. Because I'm going in with the mindset of their backup quarterback is going to start a few games for them this next year. And then it comes down to what your schedule looks like. That's the last part to me. We get the schedule in, what is it? It's April, too. It's around the draft as well. If you opened up the first 3 weeks of the season and it's a couple of last-place teams, some poor teams, some teams that finished third like you're going to in the AFC West, you could certainly have that conversation about Chris Oladokun. But it comes down to, can he beat the Raiders and the Titans again if he got that start, and if the game's on the road or at home. I know there's a lot of factors that I'm adding in here, but point being, if you feel he can beat some bad teams, run the offense efficiently, have a good running game, then yeah, he absolutely could go grab that spot and be the number 2, and you're not having to spend $5 million on a backup quarterback. But in a year where Patrick Mahomes is coming off a season-ending knee injury, you got to be pretty damn confident in who that backup quarterback is going to be. You want to have somebody that really can take this offense and obviously not elevate in the way that Mahomes does, but be serviceable. Yeah. Be somebody that can win you a couple games if need be.
Davis Mills, I keep going back to him with Houston. He went 3-0 this year down there. Malik Willis up there. Now, again, these were higher draft picks, by the way. Those are some third-rounders. So it's not like you're getting some seventh-rounders, undrafted guys. I know Gardner was, I believe, a sixth-rounder. But point remains, I thought that he made sense as the backup. Now with the injury himself, we'll find out. Yeah, Oladokun was intriguing last night. He made a couple of plays that really stood out. He had the one, not just run, but the little sidearm throw to Juju Smith-Schuster. He had the one where he dropped, picked up, made a play. I thought Chris Oladokun was, I don't want to say better than the 13 of 22 for 66 yards, but he also didn't ever really put the ball in harm's way, which was, I think, a positive. It just felt like he didn't trust himself maybe a lot. But overall, I think there was still, again, one more game with Chris. We'll find out. He's been in the organization for, 4 years now on the practice squad. So I'm not shutting the door on him as at least a option. Not saying he's the front runner, but as an option heading into next year. Let's go with Travis Kelce. I think Travis Kelce is a huge talking point on today. Just the fact that might have been his last home game as a Chief. His last game as a Chief. There's been rumblings of him maybe missing Week 18. I don't know. I don't know why he would do that unless he wanted to go out with the home game, right? If that's the case. I find myself, after watching that game, saying, I want him back. I found myself, after seeing him cook Patrick Surtain. It was 3rd and 6. First half, 3rd and 6. He's lined up wide. It's one-on-one. It's almost like you're back in high school doing drills and just one-on-one. No one's there, no help, just one-on-one. He cooked Surtain at age 36 against the reigning Defensive Player of the Year. And it wasn't like a size situation. It wasn't like he mossed Surtain, right? Okay, you put your body, you weigh more, you're taller. That makes sense. It was a route that he ran, and Surtain got shook on. Now, maybe I'm taking too much away from one play, but even in the final drive, he looked like he was getting open even when they were trying to bracket him a couple times. I don't know, man. It just feels like there's still, I know the interceptions that turn into drops that turn into, or drops that turn into interceptions that he had multiple times this year. But if you're getting open against the reigning DPOY at age 36, that tells me you still have something left. There's still some talent left in those legs.
And see, I don't know if he retire this year based on performance, and I don't think I'd be able to do this. I think it'd just be that he wants to walk away from the game and still having some of that success. I feel that Travis Kelce, production-wise, could be successful in this offense for 2 more years. I really do feel that way. To me, when I'm watching him after the game, apparently during the pregame intros, he kind of soaked it in a little bit more. This just has that feeling of being it. It really does. We've listened to the podcast. We've seen some of these post-game interviews and how he's taking this all in. As much as I would like to sit here and say, yeah, 1 more year, you can't go out with a year like this where they're going to be 7-10 or 6-11. But he might want to go out and just say, I made this my last year behind the scenes. I went into this year knowing it was my last training camp, knowing this was going to be my last game at Arrowhead Stadium, and next Sunday might be it for him. Or maybe that was it, because when he's tossing the gloves to the fans that are right in front of the locker room, there was this look on his face almost that, to me, indicated, I know this is it. And this might have been the last time I put on an NFL uniform, period.
Yeah, Chris Jones wants him back, says after the game, quote, "We've been through so much together, just one more. Just one more." And he was alluding to season, not game. Yeah. I guess if you're the Chiefs, if he's going to retire after this year, you'd like to know. He might not even have his mind 100% made up. So this obviously is all speculation. What do the Chiefs do? You don't trust Noah Gray, clearly. Or you don't look to Noah Gray ever. 1 catch, 2 yards. I mean, this has been a very disappointing year for Noah Gray. Very disappointing. And you have him under contract. You gave him that second extension, or that first extension, second contract. You don't trust Jared Wiley. Jake Bringstel, you have zero idea what he provides. Jared Wiley played 5 snaps that game. 5. If Kelce retires, I have no idea what the Chiefs do at tight end. Now, they could draft a guy, but it's not like this draft class is littered with the Colston Lovelands and the Tyler Warrens. There's not a Brock Bowers in this class. Now, yeah, Trey McBride, you could always find those guys. You can always find some of those players and get lucky, right? I thought Harold Finn Jr. was a guy I thought the Chiefs should have drafted last year. I think he's a very unique player. I know he doesn't measure with the height and some of the other measurables that I think a lot of tight ends and teams like. But Harold Fanning had the numbers to back it up in college, and we're seeing what he's doing in the NFL with playing for the Browns, right? I thought he made sense. I don't know what the Chiefs do if Kelce retires. I mean, that is going to turn into one of the black holes on this offense, and with an offense that struggled to move the ball as is, even with Kelce, man, that is going to be a position of need. Not just running back, not just defensive line. Tight end then becomes a spot where high draft capital or at least investment would have to be made.
And maybe you have to look into the Sadiq kid out of Oregon with that top pick. If you feel that he can be a transformative player in this offense, in this scheme, then yeah, maybe tight end over running back. I wouldn't go that route. I feel it's got to be a running back or an edge rusher with your first pick when you're selecting top 10. If this is it for Kelce, though, you got to jump in free agency rather quickly. You got to make a trade because you're not going you're not going with this group of tight ends into next year. If
can't.
Travis Kelce, no. None of them are number one tight ends. And I'm not saying you have to find a 1,000-yard receiver. That's stretching it a little bit. But you can find somebody who's a pass-catching tight end that can run similar routes to Travis Kelce. You're going to have to, have that thought in your mind that they're not going to be anywhere near as productive as Travis Kelce's been for the entirety of his career, but you can find the good fit, and that's what I think they'll do. They might bring in somebody that's not a household name, but they can play to that style. They are more of the great route-running, little shifty tight end. They don't need to be the 6'7", 290 pounds Darnell Washington. You can find somebody that, hopefully week by week can give you 4 for 40, maybe. I know that there's a lot of tight ends out there in this league now that can go 10 for 175, it feels like.
Jonnu Smith honestly feels like
That'd be fine with me.
a name that would make some sense. David Njoku, if they move on from him with the Browns because of Harold Fanning. I know people are going to want Kyle Pitts. I would like Kyle Pitts, but he doesn't feel he's not Travis Kelce in the esque of no one's Travis Kelce, but the route running style is not that. You can make the case that okay, they're receiving first tight ends, they're both very, very talented, all of that stuff, but Kyle Pitts doesn't necessarily get open by being shifty. It's by his athleticism more than anything else, right? It's not like he's this route running phenomenon that was Kelce. It doesn't seem like there's a great correlation. And if they're trying to find a guy like that, I don't think Kyle Pitts is the answer. I do think it's more of that Jonnu Smith, David Njoku type of guy. Again, those guys are athletic as well. Jonnu Smith is running end rounds in Pittsburgh. I mean, he runs the ball. But I don't know. I'm intrigued to see what happens if this is Travis Kelce's last game, or at least last home game last season, where the Chiefs go at tight end, because this is now going to be one of the top 3 most important spots and positions for this Chiefs team to fill.
It absolutely is. It's going to have to be a bit of an overhaul in this offseason. We all know it, and the Chiefs know it. And if you want this offense to get back to where it needs to be, a top 5 offense in the NFL, you can put up north of 30 points a game. You're not in these, mud brawls, if you will, 17-10 or 14-13. You're able to win some shootouts. And the way you got to do that, it's getting younger, getting more explosive. These are all things that make a lot of sense. They're obvious, but they're much easier said than done. You got to have an explosive running game. You're going to have a tight end that can be the number 3 option in that offense if Travis Kelce walks away. And, man, are you going to need to have this wide receiver room take a massive step forward next year, because we saw regression from Xavier Worthy in a huge way, and we saw regression from Rashee Rice, and kind of like with the Josh Simmons situation, just not as available this year. Rashee Rice gets suspended in the first 6 games. Now he's missed the last couple games. His year's over because I believe it was the concussion. Worthy gets banged up on the first play from scrimmage in week 1, and then has never really had that game that popped. He had a couple of nice performances, but I was hoping to see Xavier Worthy be that 900-yard receiver this year, maybe even 1,000, because Rashee Rice was not going to be available for the first 6 weeks of the year. So those are the 3 things for this offense that just have to happen. The offensive line, fingers crossed they stay healthy next year, but I got to see a much better running game. I got to see another tight end, if Kelce calls it quits, to be a serviceable tight end, and guys like Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy have to be big-time playmakers next year.
Yeah, again, Xavier Worthy last year, 638 yards. This year, 532. Now, again, fewer games, but also he didn't play early on for the Chiefs last year. So even when he was playing in games last year, it wasn't like he was getting a lot of snaps. He was special teams. 6 touchdowns last year receiving. He has 1 this year. Rushing yards, he had 20 attempts last year. He has 11 this year. 3 touchdowns rushing last year, 0 this year. It's been a vast disappointment. And before we take a break, because I do want to talk about some of the young guys, or should I say the lack of young guys' usage in the game yesterday, which, again, frustrates me to no end. But what happened to Xavier? I mean, what actually happened? And I know people are going to yell at Connor Embry or Matt Nagy, or at some point, though, you've played football your whole life. Early in that game, he catches a ball out of bounds. Just not knowing where you are. You can say coaching all you want. you've known where the sidelines are at your entire life. And it wasn't close. It wasn't like it was a slight heel. He had an entire foot out of bounds. An entire foot out of bounds. He had a nice drawn PI that honestly maybe could have been called uncatchable, and quite frankly, he didn't even work back to the ball. I'm just, and again, people keep telling me, and I'm not trying to say you cut him or you have to move on. I'm not saying any of that, but we have to have some nuance, because anytime I criticize Xavier Worthy, anytime it's pushed back with he's been injured all year, he's wearing a thing on for his shoulder. Him not knowing where the sideline is at has nothing to do with the shoulder. Him not coming back for the ball has nothing to do with the shoulder. Him not high pointing the ball, sure, we can talk about that. But if he's on the field and the Chiefs are saying he's healthy enough, his camp saying he's healthy enough, if he can't come back for the ball, if he doesn't know where the sideline is, that has nothing to do with the injury. I'm tired of making excuses. When you make excuses, this is the result that you get. He's a good player. We've seen him make good plays. But at some point, what has happened?
Nothing. Nothing good has happened this year for anybody in that receiving room. It's all been steps backwards. And, maybe Tyquan Thornton was that guy that you felt, hey, that was a nice year for him. You had him on the practice squad of the Futures Reserves contract, and then he finds a way to be an impact player, a deep ball threat early on in the year. But the guys you were counting on to be your studs, to be your playmakers, they didn't do anything this year. I mean, maybe that's too harsh, but from what I expected from guys like Rashee Rice once he got back, and what I expected from Worthy, was to be two guys that were excellent and reliable weapons for Patrick Mahomes. And outside of maybe a game or two, it just never really felt like they were those reliable options. I mean, Rashee Rice had the 100-plus yard performance against the Colts, their last win, and their only win post-bye week. He's had a couple of games like that. Worthy, if you do want to say, okay, the first play of the year changed the entire trajectory of his 2026 season, then I can hear you out a little bit on certain things, as you said. But if he's going out there and playing, I mean, we are far removed from week one. I thought that there was going to be one moment, or maybe a couple of moments, that flashed and you went, there's the Worthy from late last year.
Yes.
There's the Worthy that really improved. And he's still a young player. There is explosion to his game, but it's kind of just turning into a lost year all the way around. I would feel much better about a 6-10 record if it was okay, at least Worthy really improved again. He kind of emerged as that true number two, or one of the young guys in the backfield like Brashard Smith was really playing well at this point in the season. But who did you feel great about? I mean, maybe Kingsley Suamataia, kind of sure enough.
I'll give him Kingsley. I'll give him Kingsley for sure.
But the guys you're counting on to be the playmakers in this offense, the ones that can take this offense and make them a 30-plus point per game offense, they didn't do it this year. And whether that be injury, whether that be lack of production, this is the reality you're facing. It's a 6-10 year where the guys you were counting on just didn't show up as much as you needed them to.
And I'll point this out with Worthy real quick before we take a break. It's a little bit like Shamari Connor, where I do think they have a really good role on this team. I think they're good players. I think at times they're misused. We know Shamari Connor's misused when he's played in the slot. I think Xavier Worthy right now is being misused when they use him only on these deep balls. He's clearly not that guy. He's a good intermediate route runner. It's funny to think about a guy that size as a good intermediate route runner, or just an intermediate guy in general. He is. Anytime we see him, come back for the ball with his intermediate 15, 20-yard, 12-yard outs, he looks good. So it's not all his fault, but at the same point, there's a combination here, and the regression is tangible. We'll take a break. We'll come back. More Zone Sports Radio 810 WHB. Welcome back to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sterling Holmes, Jack Johnson, the Drake, Matt Derrick. What?
I heard I was being slandered.
It was libel. I was writing it.
We both were way off.
I was closer.
10:36.
Actually, you were speaking the truth because
We're used to.
I am notorious for my late arrivals.
Normally we get a text from Matt Derrick, and it's just either coming in hot or I'm sorry, I did it again. I'm a bozo or something along those lines.
Usually I
And
say loser, but
yeah, I didn't want to call you a loser though. You're not.
amazingly enough, I call myself a loser all the time, but I've never called myself a bozo.
What are you, Beck? By the way, you liked that one, didn't you? Drake got a little bit there. Yeah, yeah. We can get some beer cans in here too. He did not wash his new sweater.
Nope.
So he's on my side, and he's not even wearing an undershirt. I can see the chest hair popping through.
Second day in a row that I've worn something new that I did not wash because I also wore a Christmas sweater to the game last night.
2-2. Guys, that's 2. Shane, come here. Shane, did he leave? We have to settle his argument. It's 2-2 right
He
now.
went back to his office. I asked him. He said that he normally doesn't, but his wife wants him to.
So 3-2. We won. Our side won.
Well, we all know Shane's wife is smarter than him, so.
Well, there's no denying that, but the point remains. That's 3-2 of dudes not washing brand new sweaters or clothes outside of boxers. I will wash boxers before I rock them.
I bought a few years ago now, I guess it was, after the holidays and on clearance, it was some boxers who had been returned. But the price was just too incredible.
No, I don't.
So
it could
even
be
though
free.
they were not in the package.
Speaking of package, you were going.
But I did wash those a couple of times before I wore them.
I
the
couldn't
first
do
time.
it, man.
Yeah.
I couldn't. Free. You could pay me. I'm not taking that package.
It was an incredible bargain. They were like 75% off. I mean,
Oh,
this
I'm
was-
sure they were. Jack, you doing that?
Oh, man, it's tough to turn down a great deal.
And it was
I'm
evident.
turning that deal down.
It was evident that they had not been worn or used because, as you know,
Oh, if they've
as
not
the Drake
been worn.
noted, they still had the creases from when they had been in the package.
Okay, well that's a little different. I didn't know they hadn't been
So,
worn. If they've been
Yeah.
worn,
no,
I'm
they
not.
clearly had not been worn.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, no,
I'm not
clearly.
doing that.
They were outside of the plastic. They were just on a hanger and everything.
Okay.
But
I don't know, man. That's just. I still think I'm out. I think I'm out.
it was too good of a deal to pass up.
Yeah, I'm out. Chris Jones, Jack and I were talking in the break before the show started. We're like, do we think Chris Jones jumped off sides on purpose so that way they could lose the game for the tank job? We were being facetious, of course. At least I don't believe that was actually the case because my rebuttal was, he does this every game. He isn't offsides every game. He lined up in the neutral zone. The Chiefs called a timeout.
Yes,
And then he proceeded to line up in the neutral zone.
because apparently nobody told him that he was lined up in the neutral zone.
He's 30.
Yes,
He's played football for probably 23 years. He knows where the neutral zone is. You shouldn't have to have. I'm with you. The coach should have told him. But at some point, it's also like, dude, you know where it's at, man. And also, same thing on this situation. Hey, they're out of the Wildcat. They're going to kick a field goal here. This is all a ruse. They're going to
100% ruse.
They're going to try and get you offsides. And what did he do? The veteran, the leader, the captain, who had a pretty good game, by the way,
Yes.
decided, you know what? I'm going to get fooled. I'm going to believe that this is not a ruse and jump across.
I actually thought that the guard moved as well because he said that was why he jumped. And I thought that on the replay, I thought it certainly looked like the guard's head bobbed a little bit. But if you're Chris in that situation, if you think the other guy moved, you can't do what Chris did, which
No.
is jump and then come back.
You have to touch
You go
him.
all the way.
Yeah.
You go all the way and you start pointing and saying, hey, this guy moved. Just like the Broncos did.
Well, the Chiefs did that earlier one time, and they got it
Yeah.
when the Broncos' offensive line did not move. They got one earlier. It was it the first half or early second half when they came across.
I thought that he had moved his hand, like the right guard had moved his hand out, and it seemed like it was almost to manipulate the officials there or manipulate the defense.
Sure, okay, that's fair then. Jack, your thoughts on Chris Jones in that situation? Again, just in general, because I guess maybe we can even have an overarching conversation on this because, again, this is not the first time Chris Jones has done this.
No. Won't be the last time if he continues to play.
But at some point, he's done this so many. I'm not saying he's not a great player. I'm not saying he's not a Chiefs Hall of Famer. He's probably an NFL Hall of Famer. But how does he keep doing this in big moments? Because it's not just little moments. These are big moments. Again, I get the season's nothing a lot, but in that game, that was one of the biggest, if not the biggest moment.
Oh, it was the biggest moment. And when they broke the huddle, actually, because they come out on the field, then it was the 2-minute warning. So I thought maybe they're sending the offense out, but then there's the 2-minute warning. And then when they come back from break and they still have the offense out there, I mean, I'm not trying to sound like a genius, but I feel I was not the only one sitting on the couch going, they're not going to snap the football.
No.
There's no way in hell with Chris Oladokun throwing for less than 50 yards at that point, they're not taking the 3 and then say, okay, for us to lose this game, you are going to have to go 75 yards. You do have all 3 timeouts, but you're going to have to go 75 yards to win the game. Worst case scenario, or I guess second worst case scenario, would be Harrison Butker ties the game, we go into overtime, and I still like our chances in overtime. I mean, every logical point you brought up, why taking the 3 in that spot would be a good thing. All signs pointed to that's the right decision. Going for it, too, didn't provide much value. They did go down and score a touchdown, but then it became 1st and goal. The Chiefs had all 3 of their timeouts, so they were getting the ball back anyway. At that point, came down to will it be 3, will it be 7, and the Broncos got 7. And man, I thought about this too when Chris Jones jumped off sides. Am I angrier that it's Chris Jones and he's the best player on your defense, and it's how do you, of all people, make that mistake? Or would I be more upset if it was Jerry Tillery jumping offside? Like, at least Chris Jones was a game wrecker for a lot of that, and then he makes the crucial mistake when you can't make that mistake. Or would I rather be somebody that didn't make an impact at all, and then they jump off sides and you go, really? You're the guy to jump off sides who didn't do much in that game? I hate to pick on Jerry Tillery there, but that's just the frustrating part of a game where you've been in it, and it's still the Broncos. You wanted to knock them off, the 1 seed, knock them off the pedestal, get a little bit of revenge for losing in Mile High. But we still did get, for the most part, an entertaining finish. I mean, Chris Oladokun got them down to a spot where, I thought it was a good route by Hollywood Brown in the end. I really did think that it was a nice route.
By Hollywood.
It wasn't a great throw. It also wasn't the worst throw I've seen. It's like, if Hollywood Brown's 6'3", you might bring it down. We see them go for 2. But, I really think that the overall game plan against a damn good football team, that's about as good as it can get for a team that's starting 2 practice squad guys in the offensive line, a practice squad quarterback. They're down Rashee Rice as well. They're down a couple of guys on defense. You're not in the business for moral victories, but we talked about this earlier in the week. If you're going to lose all 3 of these final games, make them like that.
Agreed.
Make it enjoyable football for, even though I'm not going to praise a 66-yard performance from a quarterback on 22 attempts, I understand the situation he was put in, and I'll take that. That was far more enjoyable than that wreck we saw in Nashville on Sunday.
So I don't disagree with that at all, by the way. You're right. But it would have felt a lot better if, Brashard Smith or Jeffrey Bassa or Jalen Royals would have been involved as well. Like, I get it. No moral victories, but at least if you're going to lose close, fun, enjoyable games. You're not getting your ass kicked. You're in there to the very, very end. You see something from, let's say, Christian Fulton, or you see something from Esapole or some of the younger guys. Yeah, that's great. That's nice to see. I know Christian Fulton's not younger, but we can get in that conversation a little later on because I do want to actually have a Fulton conversation. But Brashard Smith, 0 carries. Brashard Smith makes one of the better plays we have seen a running back make all season long on that little screen pass for the touchdown. It was explosive, turned upfield quick, made a couple guys miss, and scored a touchdown. And then Andy Reid said, you know what? We can't have that. You're not supposed to score touchdowns on this team. We're supposed to be bad in the red zone. Haven't you got the message? We're supposed to kick field goals in the red zone, Brashard. You're not supposed to break tackles. What are you doing? So Andy basically sat his ass on the bench the rest of the game. He got a couple more targets later on. That frustrated me to no end because you see him make a play that zero chance Pacheco makes. I don't think Hunt at this point's quick. This is not a Hunt takeaway, by the way. Hunt had a really nice game. He's had a great season. He's phenomenal in short yards. This is not a Hunt take. Pacheco ain't making that play.
No.
Zero chance. So you see Bouchard make that play and say, well, that would have been nice to have earlier in the year. And then so we say, okay, so we'll see that later on in this game. He'll now take over that role. No. What is Andy, Nagy, whoever makes the decision doing? Bouchard makes that play, and then he's like, nah, we're done.
I mean, the conventional wisdom is that the Chiefs will probably move Brashard Smith to receiver in 26. That he's just too small for them to be a full-time running back, especially somebody who's going to run between the tackles. If you felt that way, I feel like you probably should have felt that way back in training camp and just gone ahead and kept him at receiver then. But I just, what I don't understand is that so many of the things that they had a lot of success with in camp and seemed to purposely go out of their way not to put on film during the preseason was exactly plays like that. And some of the things that they have done with Brashard here late was, splitting him out, Now, the Broncos did sniff it out last night when they had him lined up in the trips formation, and that screen was pretty well telegraphed. I mean, I knew what they were doing, so I'm pretty sure the Broncos knew what they were doing there, and that didn't work out. But again, I mean, if that's your plan for Brashard Smith, go ahead and do it now and get him on the field at least, because clearly he's an explosive guy who can make some plays.
I get that, and if that's what they want to do, you're right. Put him more at wide receiver then. Let's actually see it. Can he not be a third down guy? I mean, I'm not expecting him to be a bell cow. I think no one in Chiefs Kingdom is saying, yeah, give this guy 15 carries a game. I think the thought process would be, can he handle 5 and be a third down back, your receiving back, almost, I don't know, like a McNichols or McKinnon light, because he is even smaller than McKinnon as far as weight-wise. Can he be that sort of player? That to me seems like that would make some sense, but you say the Chiefs don't really feel that way?
I mean, at this point, if we're going to come like that up with comps, about the best comp that I think that the Chiefs kind of see in him is maybe a Dexter McCluster, a guy that can be a gadget guy that maybe you just put in a lot of different places and you move around a little bit. It's going to return a lot of kicks, be a specialist there, but doesn't necessarily have a set position, isn't necessarily a full-time receiver, isn't necessarily a full-time back, but somebody that you can move in a lot of different places. I mean, at this point, at least the way they've used him this year, I mean, they've seemed to have gone out of their way to make sure that he's not a guy that's going to run the football out of the backfield in between the tackles.
Well, I'm going to get to that just very briefly on the other side. We'll take a break. We'll come back to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Welcome back to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. We left it with the question of Brashard Smith. Feels like the Chiefs view him more as a receiver than as a running back, and I am going to pose the question of if that's the case. He only had a small sample size to prove what he could be as a running back, and it wasn't great. I'm not going to say he looked amazing, but they knew that when he came out of college because he was a running back for only one season. He was a receiver prior to that. They gave him 14 carries against the Raiders in a blowout. And he ran against a stacked front when they knew that they were running the clock out. In your guys' minds, Jack and Matt, was that all they needed to see for them to decide, hey, he's not a running back, he's a wide receiver? Because that's what it feels like is they saw those 14 carries and said, yeah, he's not a running back.
I don't think that those carries were counted against him because the vast majority of them, like 10 of them, were there in that fourth quarter.
Oh, agreed.
Where we're just trying to run out the clock, and he was purposely told, don't score, don't try and do too much here.
Oh, agreed.
So I don't think those were held against him, but it goes back to, I mean, what I'm trying to remember exactly his numbers here. Is he like 5'10", 190?
196 is what I think I just looked it up. It was 5'10", 196. Jerick McKinnon was 5'9", 209.
And there's no, I mean, like, the Chiefs, their prototypical running back, the guy that they would like to have is like 6', 220. And they haven't really had that guy for a while. I mean, Pacheco's a little undersized for that. Kareem's closer to that, but I mean, if you told me that Kareem was like 240 these days, I might believe it because that guy is just like
He's
a
thick.
chunk of muscles.
Yeah.
It's not fat at all.
No,
I mean,
it's not.
Like,
He's thick, like in like a strong way.
Like, I mean, I feel like it would be a legitimate, strongman contest between him and Leo Chenal about who's the strongest guy in the team because Kareem was just nothing but muscle. But, and I don't know if it goes back to even training camp. I mean, again, in camp, they gave him a lot of touches, and it seemed like that there was, some genuine interest in him. I think that it's pretty clear, at least from the way that they have used him this year, that they have gone outside that Raiders game. They've purposely done everything to avoid getting him to run between the tackles. I mean, they have given him the ball a few times out of the backfield, but it's all been on outside zones or end arounds or anything of that nature. And when they have thrown the football, a lot of times it's been when they have split him out as a wide receiver.
All right, Jack, before we get out of here, I know you got to head out after this. When it comes to Royals, Bassa, and Brashard, is this them saying the rookies, or is this more ominous of, hey, we might not believe in them for the future?
I think it's got to be a little bit of both. This is the perfect time to get those guys the reps, but at the end of the day, this is still the NFL. These games matter. They're games that count, and if you can't run the routes, if you can't pick up the scheme, if you're lost on the field, no coach in America is going to put you out there. And I feel like we're seeing a little bit of both here. That, you need to throw them in the fire a little bit, but these guys also need to be prepared enough, and they have to be ready to go where in games like this, they can get more than 13 snaps combined.
Brashard Smith had 6 plays. Jalen Royals had 5 plays. Jeffrey Bassa had 4. That is not ideal. Jack, appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man.
Matt Derrick sticking with us the next hour. Welcome back to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB, Sterling Holmes, The Drake, Matt Derrick. I love Jason's text to us. I love that. Yeah, it might be Jason whenever you show up late, because you don't show up late for me.
True, but it could be Jack because
Oh, okay.
I show
Cool.
up.
You could have
I
given
show
me a
up on-
compliment,
I
but
show up on time for Jack.
I was
because,
fishing.
I do Pat Strathman's show in Wichita.
Yeah.
ESPN Wichita, part of the Union Broadcasting family. I do that show at 2:25 on Tuesdays, and then followed by Seren. So if I can get here early enough, I can do Pat's show actually with Jack,
Sure.
not on the phone. So I can do it in the studio, talking to Pat.
I will say Jason feels like the common denominator here.
I mean, he's a big part of the problem. Let's face
Okay,
it.
yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt.
Okay.
So, but I feel like he knows that.
After that text he sent, yeah, I think he does.
Yeah, he knows it now.
You were too on the nose with your. It's too obvious. Can't make it that obvious. Before we talk more about Royals, Bassa, Brashard Smith, just the Chiefs in general and the outlook going forward, I want to get your thoughts on Travis Kelce, your thoughts on Chris Oladokun. Just a lot more insight as we start heading towards the offseason for Kansas City. Saw Anaconda last night with Jack Black and Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
It's better than the commercials
Really?
indicated. Because I think you see the commercials and you're like, this.
Oh, the commercials look terrible.
You see the commercials and you're like, this looks bad.
Yeah.
This looks bad. But when you see it, it makes sense at points why it looks bad. But you don't get the reason why it looks bad on the commercials. Like, it's almost a joke at points of why it is what it is, if that makes sense, which is really hard to describe unless you go see the movie. It was funny, and it's one of those few movies, we talked about it afterwards. It gets better as it goes on.
Interesting.
I think a lot of comedies start off strong, and then they get kind of preachy towards the end, where it's like, you know how we were laughing and having fun earlier? Well, now we're going to give you some message. And you're like, okay, cool. I thanks. The movies, you went from ha-has to ahs pretty quick. This was more like, okay, this is pretty good. This is fine. And then the last, 20 minutes, you're like, okay, this is pretty funny. This is pretty good. An Ice Cube cameo, I'll take it.
I mean, I feel like I need to know more about what went into the decision process to go see Anaconda on Christmas Day.
Christmas. You go see movies on Christmas. This is a...
Oh, sure, but, Anaconda doesn't feel like a Christmas Day kind of movie.
No, but Paul Rudd is in it. I like Jack Black. I think he's a funny guy. I love Tenacious D.
Sure.
My dad bought tickets, and so was my parents, myself, and my aunt and uncle.
Okay.
So 5 of us. It was a great time. We had a lovely time. You can get popcorn.
Oh, nope. I mean,
Get a soda. What do you mean?
There's no problem here whatsoever with going to the movies.
You're saying
on Christmas
Anaconda
Day.
in general.
It just felt like that feels like an odd choice.
It's Paul Rudd and Jack Black. There's your answer.
That's a legitimate answer.
There's your
That's
answer.
a legitimate answer.
It's pretty good. There are some jump scares though. It's a comedy with a little bit of startling aspects in it.
See, I'm with you on the commercials because I had just been.
Yeah.
I just binged the UK Traders
Oh yeah.
celebrity series season. Series season. It's a British thing. And they ran the Anaconda commercial in every single commercial break, it felt like.
And the commercials you're right, they don't look good.
No, it does not look good at all.
But then I'm telling you, and maybe it's because I'm Kansas City, and I also think Jack Black's hilarious. I find him very funny. I love Tenacious D again. It's good. It's a good movie.
Did not expect that.
Yeah, I hand up. I liked it. Recommend. I just wanted to get that off my chest that it's way most movies you see the trailer and you're like, the trailer's great, and you go to the movie like this, all the good parts were in the trailer. Opposite.
Interesting.
Opposite.
Very interesting. I mean, I thought that the purpose of me coming in early and staying until you kick me out is that this can be
2 o'clock.
this can be a therapy session.
Yeah, it's therapy.
So, the fact that you've been able to get this off your chest, I feel like we're making progress here.
Also saw Roofman, based on a true story. Is a true story.
I have not heard of that one.
Yeah, it's interesting. Check it out. A guy who used to break into roofs to try to give his family a better life. He was like a criminal, but like a nice criminal, allegedly nice criminal. Like he'd put people in freezers, but like give them coats and stuff so they wouldn't get cold. Then he would call the cops to let them out, but he would take the money first. Yeah, Pretty wild stuff. Lived in a Toys R Us for a while. Crazy.
Oh, I guess I have heard about that.
Channing
movie.
Tatum.
Yeah.
Channing Tatum was the actor in it, which, by the way, not bad. You're in jail, and the guy that plays you is Channing Tatum.
It's pretty good upgrade.
They did show like some of the pictures. You're like, yeah, he doesn't really look like Channing Tatum, but good for you. Like if you had to pick someone to pick, it's not like it's Steve Buscemi playing you. Like that's one where you're like, okay, man, that seems hurtful.
Yeah.
That seems Steve Buscemi could totally play me. By the way, if there's a movie about me, I don't care who plays me.
Miles Teller is playing you.
Miles Teller's playing me, but still, point remains. Pretty good get if you're getting Channing Tatum to play you.
It's true.
Doesn't suck.
I mean, I would assume if anybody ever plays me in a movie, it's going to be a choice I'm not happy with.
Who do you think?
I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. When we did in my senior year of high school, we did a sketch for our broadcast channel on local access cable, and our sketch that we did was 21 Grant Street, because our high school was on Grant Street. 21 Jump Street, the original television show, very big at the time. And so there was a character on there that was played by Peter DeLuise, who was the son of Dom DeLuise,
Okay.
the actor.
Are you saying Peter DeLuise would play you?
Well, one, I think he absolutely would be an appropriate choice for me because,
Let me give a little look-see real quick.
We're both, actors of performers, people of generous proportions. Although I don't think he's as heavy as he used to be. And his dad was really heavy, but that was the joke. So my actor's name in the sketch was, rest in peace, John Candy Jr.
Oh!
See?
John Candy. I got my dad a John Candy book. Found out when he lived in L.A., he actually he worked retail. And he was helping John Candy out one time. And he was wearing his outfit from one of the shows he was actually in.
Wow.
Yeah. It was on like Christmas.
You haven't seen that Amazon documentary on John Candy. It's heartbreaking.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Well, I don't want to cry right now.
Not after you've seen Anaconda.
No, we'll cry because Jalen Royals got, 5 snaps.
Yeah, well, that's 4 more than he could have gotten. So look at the bright side.
Why is there this reluctance to play? We talked about Rashard Smith a lot last hour, so we can kind of move him to a different bucket because, again, your thoughts are they may view him more as a wide receiver, so that's why he's no longer getting carries. My pushback is, well, they gave him 14 carries against the Raiders in a blowout, and apparently that's all they needed to see from him to make their decision. Just seems a very small sample size. But again, we don't know what goes on in practice and all that in general, so again, could be the case. But when it comes to guys like Jalen Royals, who played 5 snaps, and then Jeffrey Bassa, who played 4, Bassa, I thought, actually had a really nice play on one of his 4 snaps where he flashed. There was that little, I think it was a tight end screen or a tight end little dump off, and he read that, I thought, very, very well. It ended up being a drop, but he was right there. It would have been a gain of 2 tops. But he played 4, Royals played 5. Why can they not see the field?
Yeah, I think it's probably a little bit different for both of them. With Royals, I mean, it does seem like that time that he missed at the end of camp and at the beginning of the season with the knee tendonitis was really holding him back. There was some key development, key picking up of the offense and the scheme that he kind of missed out on. And that the knee tendonitis is a concern for me because that's typically something that is chronic, that you deal with forever. It's not an acute thing. I mean, it can be, but not normally. So I think you raised the question. One, is that knee just something that he dealt with all season and been an issue? But it certainly seems with Royals, it's been a matter of being able to pick up enough of the offense where, and they kind of streamlined him this year because they weren't trying to teach him all 3 positions, especially after the knee issue popped up. I mean, they went out and were just trying to have him just trained to play one spot. And the fact that it was taking a while to do that it's a concern. I mean, is it that he's just not picking things up fast enough? Is it that was just behind and needs more seasoning? Who knows? Bassa, the issue. I'm going to bring in undrafted guy in Cooper McDonald.
That's just going to give a little,
because Brendan Daly, when we talked to the assistant coaches last week, we asked him about both those guys, and his answer on both those guys was virtually the same, which is that great special teams players just need more work and everything. And the fact that a position coach, if their first compliment is that you're a great special teams player, not a great compliment from your position coach.
No.
So, and that would be the concern with Bossa, because when the Chiefs drafted him, the knock on him and the reason why he was available where he was because he's a tweener. He's a little bit too small to be a linebacker, a little bit too big to be a safety. If that's what's proving out, that he's just a little bit too small to be a linebacker, that's what's going to keep him off the field. If the Chiefs feel like that he's a guy that, and the one spot that he's playing is the weak side linebacker, so he would be more of a Drew Tranquill type.
And that's when we saw him, at least what I noticed on those 4 snaps, it wasn't like he's filling in, for example, Leo, right? Because Leo's out. He was filling in for Drew. That is what I noticed. So just to your points for folks listening, it wasn't like, okay, if there's 3 linebackers, it's Nick, Drew, and Bossa. It's actually Bossa filling in for Drew Tranquill.
Yeah, and there was when Bolton came out for that one play, it was Cochran was out there along with Tranquill, and I'm trying to remember. I think it was Cooper McDonald too.
I think it was Cooper McDonald.
So that was an interesting trio that I would not normally think would be. It wouldn't necessarily be the lineup that I think I would want to put out there.
Sure,
but no, I mean it's with Bossa in particular, okay, the question is going to be is he big enough to be able to tackle? And, especially in situations where he's going to be matched up on some tight ends that he's probably given away quite a few pounds on.
Probably 30-ish pounds.
And I think that's, was the concern is just, whether or not that he can be able to tackle some of those bigger guys. He can keep up with them.
Sure.
I think he had a pass breakup and defended the pass really, really well in one of those snaps last night.
That's what I was saying. Of the 4 snaps, it reminded me almost of FAU like last year, where he's playing 4 snaps. But in those 4 snaps, you see an impact, and you're sitting here going, well, why can't he see the field more? And I get the tweener aspect, because FAU is kind of like that, too, in a Spags-esque style of defense, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not what he covets. But the point remains, then, one, why draft him? You knew this. This is nothing new. You knew this when you drafted him. And then, 2, is this just Dorian O'Daniel part 2?
Yeah, and because Bossa is 6'2", 235, and for comparison purposes, Tranquill is, actually the same size, amazingly enough. So there is a comp there, but Tranquill, I think definitely has a little bit more muscle, and I think that's what allows him to play bigger and play against some of the bigger tight ends he's going to face.
I think Drew does play bigger than his size, because I would have thought he was at least like 245.
Yeah,
I thought, because Drew does seem to play a little bigger than his.
He's also well built. I mean, he's muscular, so yeah, I think that helps. And again, when you draft guys, sometimes you are drafting them with the purpose of saying, okay, you know what, this guy might not be exactly what we need right now, but you think you can turn him into what you need. And FAU is a great example of that, because FAU, remember, was extremely young. Was he even 21 yet when they drafted him?
He still is very young.
He was really young, 1. 2, he was a late bloomer because, famously went to Kansas State, and what was he?
He's 23 still. He's about to turn 24, but he's still 23, and this is his, 3rd year in the NFL?
Yeah.
He didn't play, but still, this would have been his 3rd year?
Yeah. So... I think, what was he famously, something like 6 foot 180 when he went to K-State, and then during COVID put on 45 pounds and grew 4 inches and became a much bigger player and kind of grew into that defensive end role and everything. And the Chiefs looked at that and they're like, hey, wait a minute, you know what? If this is a guy that's played so little football at that size and has just kind of grown into that's like, he's going to continue to mature. And once he gets some seasoning, he can be a really good player. And they thought that, he might be a year 3 was when he really kind of emerged. And
this year
3, he gets injured.
Yeah.
So that hurts. And you know what? FAU could be one of those guys that if he ends up going to a team that plays like a 3-4, or is able to use him in kind of a wide 9 spot, he might become a really productive player.
And this is my frustration a little with what we've seen with the lack of Bouchard, Royals, and again, defensively. Again, the defense has not been the issue this year. Even in this game, it hasn't. Yeah, they give him a lot of long drives. They give him 20 points, and
you give up 20 points, you should expect to
win that game. The defense has not been the major issue, so it's tough when I criticize Spags, but it does feel like he has his guys. He has very specific size requirements. McDuffie's one of the few guys who's bucked that trend, and that's because he was a first-rounder. They're playing undrafted Cooper McDonald because he's bigger than Jeffrey Bassa. FAU, I still will go back to this. I'm not saying it was a great pick, by the way. I don't want people to get this misconstrued here, because I'm not saying FAU was a phenomenal pick and that he is going to be a star or a stud. No, but we did see him flash in limited action, but we could never see him consistently on the field. And why is that? Because he's 255. That's not a Spags defensive end. He has some bend to him, but Charles Omenihu's bigger. He sets the edge. Mike Dana sets the edge. Well, the defense overall has been fine, but Spags makes it harder on himself because those guys get zero pressure. So you're forced to send extra guys, and then you're putting a lot of pressure on your back end, which, by the way, has done a really good job. They've done a great job, but they're making it so much harder on themselves. And so I'm not saying you have to play FAU, but I'm just saying as an example, that body type. Bassa doesn't fit the body type. So is that Spags? Or is that Veach saying, hey, I'm drafting this guy. I think he's a good player. You should play him. And Spags is like, I don't care what you think. He doesn't fit my style. He's not my type of player. I'm not playing him.
Yeah, it's a really good question, because I do think that there's times, and when we saw this last year with Joshua Uche, that Brett Veach traded for. That was an attempt to kind of get Steve Spagnuolo a chess piece that he could use. And the reality of it is
knights.
That's the reality of it is that it was just a piece that Spags couldn't figure out how to use in his scheme, his style.
I don't know which way knights move. I'm not using him.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know how to use a 3-4 linebacker and an edge rusher. But, he goes to a scheme where his skill set fits, and, has had a good year with the Eagles this year, much better than what he was doing with the Chiefs last year. There's also a point, and I think that the Chiefs also learned this, which is that we talk about Andy Reid's scheme being difficult to pick up for young players, and especially like mid-season if you're coming in like the trade deadline and you're trying to pick up, because let's face it, I mean, what's the most successful Andy Reid mid-season offensive addition? Honestly, it's DeAndre Hopkins.
I would say
beyond a shadow of that. And DeAndre Hopkins did not set the world on fire.
We've seen some defensive guys to an extent. Terrell Suggs.
But again,
was it Melvin Ingram?
Yeah, and Melvin came into like training camp.
Yeah,
and there's some areas where there's an exception that maybe you can come in on some spots on the defensive side and play, but there's some other particular spots where it's like you kind of need to be there to pick up Spags' system, because it's more complicated than other defenses.
I don't argue that, but Noah Williams has been really good this year. And remember, during training camp and even preseason, the talk was that he was
swimming.
He was struggling to pick it up. That was anytime anyone had asked about Noah, it was always like, oh well, he's drinking from a fire hose.
He's Dory, and as Dave Merritt would say.
But then he plays, and what happens? He looks damn good.
He's had moments. I mean,
I think overall you would take that from a rookie cornerback any given day.
Oh yeah, no, I mean I would. I mean, it's they kind of gave, I don't want to say gave up on him, but they moved him back to the back of the rotation after the Buffalo game because he had a lot of rookie mistakes in that game.
He did.
So that's when they kind of backed off of him and tried not to put too much pressure on him.
But I just real quick, because I know we need to take a break, but when it comes to these rookie players, the point I'm trying to make here is that everyone always says how complicated and difficult it is. Well, one, is that on the coaching staff for making it that hard and that difficult?
Sometimes, yeah.
Or two, sometimes these guys who we always say it's so hard and so difficult, they come in and they look good. Christian Fulton, he couldn't figure it out. He comes in last night and looks really good. Noah Williams can't figure it out. He gets an opportunity. He looks really good. Offensively, Rashee Rice, we only trust him with passes at the line of scrimmage. Remember that? And then he had the one broken play, and then it all changed from there. But he figured it out well before then. They just didn't trust him. Xavier Worthy was the same way. When they went out last year, Rashee Rice, they didn't trust Xavier Worthy. Second half of the season last year, they trusted him to run those Rice routes, and what happened? He looked really good. So at some point, you have to take the training wheels off, or are you just alluding to how hard it is? We don't trust them, and then they actually get a chance to do something, and they look good. So maybe it's in your dome that is that complicated.
And my only pushback on this is that on defense, I think it's more difficult to sometimes for us on the outside to evaluate, because we don't always know what the defense is doing, what they're supposed to be doing. And there's times that we see, we were even talking about a play earlier, as far as, that
it was Bolton
that catch
and,
that gave up.
yes, there was two guys on one guy,
Wide
with one
open
guy
in the middle of the field.
Wide in the middle, yes.
Wide open in the middle of the field. And you saw Nick Bolton running away from the play. Well, there was also two safeties behind the play.
Correct.
Next to each other. So seems like one of those guys was probably supposed to be coming down to cover that and didn't do it. I mean, if there's 11 guys on the field and somebody makes a mistake on the Chiefs defense, the last guy I'm going to think that was making a mistake is probably Nick Bolton. But with Noah Williams, he played really well. And you know what? Xavier Worthy played really well when forced by injuries and circumstances to play. Rashee Rice, same way, 2 years ago, played really well as a rookie. Noah Williams had some really good moments. There were also, I could argue, Noah Williams might have cost this team 2 games because of just poor plays and poor decisions that were completely his fault. Just rookie mistakes. But they were forced to play him because of the circumstance. Is it going to pay off for them in the future? Yeah, because I think he's going to be a better player in year 2 in 2026 than he was this year.
Sure.
But I'm not saying that the reason why they're 6-10 instead of 8-8 is Noah Williams, but he had some costly mistakes during the season.
But you're implying it.
But here's the thing. I mean, there's how many of these Chiefs games could you point to and say,
hey,
there's
if
been a one
lot
guy had made a different play that we could have won that game.
Oh, there's a plethora of those, but that's also just the
Chris
NFL.
Jones probably cost this team 2 games with plays.
Concur. We'll take a break. We'll come back. More Chiefs talk with Matt Derrick. Chiefs Digest on the other side. The Zone Sports Radio 810 WHB. Welcome to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sterling Holmes, the Drake, Matt Derrick. Quick shout out to some sponsors real quick, just because it's the holiday season and it's always fun. The Back Nine golf simulators that I go to. I love having sponsors that I love and that I really enjoy doing, because my friends are all texting me and I'm like, hey, let's go to the Back Nine golf soon. I just had 3 people text me over the past couple days saying, hey, bro, when can we go to the Back Nine golf? When can we go hit up the simulators? I love that. Sometimes you're like, I love trade. I love sponsors. I love it all.
Absolutely.
Thanks to Back Nine. Thanks for making me, you know what? You know it's a good product when even people, my friends, want to hang out with me.
There you go.
Right? That's when you know. When
I would go hang out there with you.
When they want to go hang out with me, that's when you know it's a good time. They even want to hang out with me. That takes a lot.
That's a
big ask.
I would hang out with you at most places, Sterling.
Thank you.
So I'd be more likely to hang out with you at a cool place like that, like Back Nine Golf.
Yeah, thank you. Just want to give a quick check, so that was kind of funny. I got that text, another one this morning. I said, hey, bro, when can we go and do it? Like, they're asking me. I'm not even inviting them. They're just asking. They're telling me, when can we go? I'm free at this time. They're giving me time slots now. That's when you know. All right, back into the game. That's a big sigh.
That's a big sigh.
It's a big sigh.
Like which disaster do you want to move on to next?
How about not a disaster, but an interesting thought process?
Yes.
What do the Chiefs do in the secondary going forward? Because, now this is Bo Nix. These aren't elite wide receivers. They're solid wide receiver, not elite. The Chiefs secondaries looked really good without McDuffie and Watson. I mean, really good still. They somehow can grow cornerbacks on trees. Christian Fulton couldn't see the field, and then Christian Fulton played, I thought, a really good game against Denver. Noah Williams looks like he's blossoming, as we talked about last segment. He's blossoming into, I think, a really solid cornerback. Christian Roland Wallace in the slot, Shamari Connor at safety, Brian Cook at safety if he decides to come back with that contract. Jaden Hicks, maybe. He's actually had some regression this year. I think Jaden Hicks has been a little disappointment this year. But overall, secondary, they plug and play, man. They plug and play. What do the Chiefs do heading into next year? And, oh, by the way, for those wondering with Christian Fulton, there is a second year on that contract. It is $13 million. But it's $8 million dead cap if you cut him.
Yep.
So you're only saving $5 million.
Right.
You can restructure, but I don't think it's as clear-cut of a, oh, he's not coming back, as I think a lot of people think it is.
I mean, I assume he is coming back.
Yes.
So
I'm more or less in that realm, too, just because again, the contract, it was a deal you could get out of if it was a disaster. It kind of has been a disaster, but if he looks good this final game, that's, 2 games where he looks good in? And if you don't know, with McDuffie and Watson, do you take that risk? So I guess just overall, your thoughts on the secondary and who is versus who is not coming back next year. What would you do?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really tough question. I mean, and one of them I think that you have to do is you just have to test the value on the trade market of Trent McDuffie.
Yeah.
If for a lot of reasons, one's obviously that you can't sign everybody. And yes, I mean, the Chiefs can rework some cap numbers and everything like that because depending on the measure you look at, the Chiefs are $40 million plus over the cap for 2026. Now, Patrick Mahomes has like a $75 million cap number. So you're going to rework that. But then again, he's also hurt. So that's another small complication, but I don't think it's one that's going to hinder the Chiefs. I mean, this would normally have been a year in which they probably just rework that contract, not just a year in which they convert some money into a signing bonus and spread it out over the next 5 seasons, this would have been a year that they actually move some money around, maybe add some money. Maybe that doesn't happen now because of the injury. So maybe they do just go ahead and revert to a simple restructure. But the reason why you talk about that is how it does affect that secondary, because if you shop Trent McDuffie, well, now you don't have your number one corner.
Yeah.
Jalen Watson's going to be on the free agent market. And, Jalen Watson, whether he's going to get it or not, that he's aware of what the market looks like and what's going on. And, look at the year that Deron Bland's had for the Cowboys. And I know he's been hurt. He's also been terrible this year.
Yes.
And just signed, $90 million 4-year deal, $36 million guaranteed. I'm not saying Jalen Watson's going to get that, but I know that's the kind of contract he would like to get.
What was the contract again? Sorry, I was pulling something up and I misheard the number.
His was Bland's was 4 years, $90 million, 36 guaranteed. So could be 2 for 18.
22-ish, 22 and a half
Yeah.
a year.
Yeah, and it could be 2 for 18 if you bail, which right now looks like the Cowboys might bail on that one, especially if he's going to have foot surgery and maybe miss part of next year and not be very good next year. But if Watson's going to be, and you signed Fulton honestly with the prospect that he was going to replace Jalen Watson, whether it was in 25 or 26.
Yeah.
Now he didn't displant him this year, so injuries kind of kept that from happening. Now Christian Fulton has had injury issues before, so this is nothing new. It could happen. And, he's bounced around. Anytime that a player switches teams during his rookie contract, there's always a little bit of a red flag for me. That's always a concern. So, the Titans traded him to the Chargers. So there was obviously a reason why they let that happen. He's played well, and I don't think he's been a problem in Kansas City. It seems like he's been a good teammate. People like him. It doesn't seem to be disruptive. It's just he's had a hard time getting and staying on the field.
Yeah.
If he's fully healthy next year, he can be an important piece. But is he now the new number one corner, or is he going to be paired with the Jalen Watson if you're able to get him re-signed? Those are two big questions between what you do with McDuffie and Watson.
So for Jalen Watson, just for those listening, PFF data point, not the end-all be-all, but I think it kind of backs up what I have viewed Jalen Watson as this year. Do you want to guess where his PFF grade is out of 112 cornerbacks? 112.
Out of 112.
Yeah.
I would say, because I have not looked at PFF numbers like that closely this year, I would say 21.
15.
There you go.
Yeah, 15 maybe slightly high. He's 6th in run defense, which, again, he's 6'2", 200, 197. We've seen him, I think even the second half of the season, he has flown around. And he is a great tackler. And you have to be in Spagnuolo and Dave Merritt's secondary. Like, they require that from all secondary players. You have to be able to be a willing tackler. Marcus Peters, I'm not trying to rip on Marcus Peters. He was a really good player. But that's not what he was known for. That was not his strength, right? You got to tackle. His coverage grade, though, was 29th out of 112. 29th. That seems about right. That is a back-end CB1 or a top-end CB2, right? 15, because, again, to me, it's like the draft, right, where there's not 32 CB1. There's not 32 or 30, whatever, 32 wide receiver ones. There might be 16. Yeah. There might be 12. There might be 18. Whatever the number is, we know it's not that. So, to me, Jalen Watson is playing like this year, kind of a back-end CB1, top-end CB2. And I look at Spot Track, however you choose to pronounce that.
I've never figured it out.
No one knows. They have his calculated market value at a $12.6 million average annual salary. That is 3-year, about $38 million. I find that very low, personally. I think if the Chiefs could get him for 3 for 38, they are doing that in a heartbeat. The issue, I think, is he's probably going to be playing himself into more of a 3 for 56. And maybe you disagree and push back, but I think he's more in that 18-ish million a year range. I don't think he's the 30 million a year range like McDuffie or the Sauce Gardners, the Derek Stingleys.
Right.
But I don't think he's in that Christian Fulton range, which is the 10-ish million a year. I think he's in that in between. And maybe I'm wrong here, but I firmly believe he's more of that 3 for 54-ish than he is a 3 for 38.
When you look at some of his next gen stats, his passer rating allowed this year is 79. That's really good. Only been credited with giving up 1 touchdown. That's pretty good. He's had 1 missed tackle. That's pretty good. So yeah, I mean, and you can see there's a lot of ways in which Jalen Watson has truly improved this year, and that's the one thing that with him and Najee Johnson and Josh Williams, the one thing that the Chiefs had been wanting the last few years is one of those 3 guys to step up and be consistent. And Jalen Watson, a little bit last year before the injury, was starting to get there, and now seems like he's fully gotten there. That he's and he had maybe, you know what the crazy thing is that I feel like was it the Dallas game where for whatever reason, Tony Romo started talking about how Jalen Watson was all pro, like a Pro Bowl corner. And
yeah, he was, and I was like, don't say that because then you're going to drive his contract up.
Well, and then he had like the worst 2 games of his season, like immediately after that. So I felt like it was kind of a curse. But yeah, Jalen Watson has been pretty consistent. Or like you said, is he a 1? No, I mean he's not a number 1 corner. He's not necessarily a shutdown corner. And proven by that because, when given the choice between challenging Jalen Watson or challenging Trent McDuffie, teams for the most part are challenging Jalen Watson.
Sure.
He's held up well, though.
He has.
That's the credit to him. So, I mean, yeah. And you know what? I mean, if you were talking like 3 for 38, could work out to 4 for 50. I mean, when you compare that to what Bland signed, I mean, I think that Jalen Watson, would be disappointed in that number.
I would agree. That's my point. I think he'd be very disappointed because now Bland's flashier. He had all the pick sixes,
had all the turnovers,
and all that. But if you want consistency, I think you're looking at this. I know we need to take a break, but does L'Jarius Sneed hurt the value? Now I say this because Javarius Ward left and was really good in San Fran. But L'Jarius Sneed left, signed a big contract, the trade obviously, and Jalen Watson is a guy, not a knee, but Jalen Watson has been injured a good amount in his NFL career. He's played through a lot too.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's tough.
He is a tough dude, but he has had some injuries in his NFL career. And does L'Jarius Sneed hurt that? Does the fact that the Chiefs are able to get the best out of almost every single secondary player, and then teams might look and say, yeah, well, of course they're great in Kansas City because it's Spags and Dave Merritt. They're going to get the best out of them. We might get 85% of that somewhere else. Does that hurt his market value?
And that's where, you're going to have to make a tough decision because, Trent McDuffie is 25. Jalen Watson, 27.
Yeah.
Both in the same draft. And that's how old L'Jarius Sneed was, too, when you traded him. He was 27.
Correct.
And one of the reasons why you didn't sign L'Jarius Sneed was that he was a 27-year-old with a chronic bad knee.
Mm-hmm.
And that ended up being a wise decision on the Chiefs' part.
We all thought,
to move
how
on.
do you only get that back? And then we see, okay, they are glad they got that back.
But that's the reality. I mean, corners especially corners that don't have team control,
correct,
just don't bring a big return.
Sauce Gardner is going to be the one that everyone comps McDuffie to. The issue is Sauce Gardner had already signed that contract extension, and a lot of that money had already been paid out by the Jets in the signing bonus. So that takes a lot of money out of the pockets when the Colts traded the 2 first-rounders for him because under contract, and the Jets ate some money.
I mean, one of those first-round picks was basically for the player.
Correct.
One of those first-round picks was to make up for all the money that the Jets had already paid to the player.
Also correct.
I mean, you basically just bought that first-round pick if you're the New York Jets. The Chiefs are not in a similar situation. They can't do the same thing. It's not like they can do a sign and trade with Trent McDuffie because they don't have the cap space to do it. They can't eat, $50 million in dead cap space to do a deal like that for Trent McDuffie. And on top of that, once again, you get into the Trent McDuffie is a slot corner and Sauce Gardner is an outside guy, and slot corners don't make as much money. And as good as Trent has been, this has been his worst year as an outside corner.
Yeah.
And part of that's because teams have finally realized that his kryptonite are big receivers. and you put a 6'2", 6'3", 6'4" receiver on Trent McDuffie and throw the ball downfield, we've seen how that goes. I mean, the Bengals have had all of their success against the Chiefs doing exactly that, just finding their big receivers on Trent McDuffie and challenging him. Other teams have figured that out. I mean, Noah Williams had a better game against the Eagles than Trent McDuffie did.
Yeah.
And it was like Noah Williams' second game of the year. So I mean, that tells you a lot right there. Teams have figured that out. And, I mean, I love Trent McDuffie. He's a great dude, a great teammate. He's exactly what you want. I mean, he's not a loud vocal leader, but he's a leader by example because he does everything the right way. But can you afford to pay him or overpay him, as the case is, when you got a lot of other guys that you're continuing to pay? And you've got guys at several different positions that are one of the highest paid players at their spots. So how many can you sign? And you also, once again, you've got maybe 5 or 6 day 1, day 2 needs in the draft. You need more picks. And picking them up from Trent McDuffie. And you know what? I mean, the last few games the Chiefs have played has not really enhanced Trent McDuffie's value because the secondary's played pretty well.
Yeah.
Now, I'll say this. I mean, if you're going to trade Trent McDuffie, you better make sure that Dave Merritt doesn't leave.
Correct.
Because that's the guy that you've got to have.
Hey, use some of that money to get an edge rusher and keep Dave Merritt. We'll keep Matt Derrick on for as long as he'll stay, which apparently is the end of the day. We'll take a break. We'll come back. More Zone at Sports Radio 810 WHB. Welcome to the Zone, Sports Radio 810, WHB, Sterling Holmes, Drake, Matt Derrick. Until 2. I'm keeping you here. You're hostage.
I mean, I would rather be hostage than a volunteer. I don't know what I'm saying.
That's because you have the what's the syndrome you have when you start agreeing with your captors? There was this Always Sunny in Philadelphia show about this. Stockholm syndrome.
There you go. I was just thinking Patty Hearst, and
And you got Stockholm syndrome. You're now agreeing with me. You're just everything.
whatever you say. I mean, I'm here hanging out with you. I'm ready to go play some virtual golf.
That's gonna be great. Kendall
I'm
Gambit-
not going to go see Anaconda, though. I mean,
It's better. I'm telling you, it's better than the commercials. Okay, don't you
It would
like Paul
have
Rudd?
to be.
It is much better than the commercials. The commercials make it look bad. I'm not disagreeing nor arguing with you there. The commercials make it look bad. It's good. It's good. Kendall Gambit will join us in just a little bit. In the next segment, we'll talk with the world's greatest long snapper. It's true.
I thought he was tied with James Winchester, but
How long does James Winchester play for? How many more years does he have left in that rifle?
I tell you what, I mean, he's got some longevity. I feel like he can go as long as he wants to.
Honestly, he should set the record. Just go until you're like 60.
There you go.
I can't get hit.
No,
You can't,
Still?
right? You can't. You're not allowed to. It's a penalty.
still sending that spiral back there just fine.
Yeah.
Spinning it. Yep.
Cooper McDonald. Just real quick thoughts on Cooper before we take a break here. Cooper McDonald. I was okay with him getting run, by the way. I know people were upset about Jeffrey Bossa. I'm upset about Jeffrey Bossa not getting run. He played 4 snaps. But if you're not going to play Jeffrey Bossa, not a knock on Jack Cochran. I'm sorry, Jack. This is not a knock on you. But you know what you have with him, right? He's a backup. He's a special teamer. Cooper McDonald's also a rookie. Undrafted rookie, but a rookie. My thought is, if you're going to play a guy this late in the season, play the youngsters. And at least play the rookie Cooper McDonald over Jack Cochran. And 6'3", 240, a little more of the Spagsian type of linebacker.
Yeah.
Let me see his snap count real quick of how much Cooper played. He played 29% of snaps, 21 snaps overall defensively.
I mean, that alone tells you that the Chiefs feel like that he's progressed a little bit more than Bossa has this season. But, you know, and again, honestly, this is an area where the Chiefs have, scouting-wise, done a really good job because they've managed to have sometimes 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th linebackers that are all like undrafted guys or very little resources in them because they seem to find linebackers who can, you know, undrafted guys who can play. I mean, Dan Sorensen, well, safety, but played some linebacker for them essentially.
Yeah.
Ben Neiman. I mean, you want to knock Ben Neiman? He had some good plays with the Chiefs, and he was an undrafted guy. I mean, they've done a really good job of finding those guys.
Does it make if McDonald jumps Jeffrey Bossa in the linebacker hierarchy, does it make that draft pick look even worse with a lot of the running backs, especially with what we've seen, hindsight of how bad the running back room was of not using that draft pick on an RB?
If Cooper McDonald becomes your strong side guy and you let Leo Chenal go, and Bossa doesn't replace Drew Tranquil, then yeah, that looks bad.
All right. Kendall Gambit comes up next. That looks good. Matt Derrick with us after that. Still looks great. Welcome to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sterling Holmes, the Drake, joined now by the world's greatest long snapper and juggler, Kendall Gammon. Kendall, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, Sterling?
I'm good. I'm doing well. Yeah, it was a nice little Christmas. How was yours?
It was very well, thanks, and I'm glad yours went well also.
Yeah, it's fun. You get older, and all of a sudden you get books and socks, and I'm like, that is the greatest gift.
Exactly right.
Well, it's the greatest gift one could get. I got 4 books, and each book was more exciting than the next. I'm like, hell yeah, baby. Let's rage. Let's sit down with a nice book, a cappuccino, with my nice new socks, and let's have us a nice little weekend. That's me now, Kendall.
Yeah, you keep talking like that, and I'll go ahead and learn to read, so it will be awesome.
By the way, I'm supposed to tell you, I don't know why I just didn't text you this, but I'm going to tell you now since I have you on air before I forget. Scott Wedman said to tell you hi. He told me to tell you hi, since you guys are you guys live semi-close to each other.
We live very close. I can see his house from my house.
Do you ever just swim over there and just jump off his diving board or not?
I do not swim over there, but I do jump off that diving board.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah,
yes.
I figured
Absolutely.
so. I'm pontificating on not talking about the Chiefs because it's just no longer fun.
I understand.
But we're going to. Kendall, what was your main takeaway on the Chiefs' 2013 loss to Denver?
Probably that the defense is pretty decent. We just had a rough time offensively this year. I guess, if anything, I mean, it was a more competitive game than I thought it was going to be. That being said, normally in Chiefs seasons and games, everything, I think, well, we're eventually going to come back and we'll get this game. This one, it was like, okay, well, the Broncos are eventually going to get this and take this, and that's what happened. So it's kind of funny how things change during a year like this.
Yeah, it really is interesting. But I will point out to your astute observation, the defense I thought played really well overall in this game, even with the amount of backups that they did have in this one. Just sticking on the defensive side here, does this bring down the value of, let's say, a Trent McDuffie when you see Christian Fulton get inserted and play really good football? When you see Noel Williams, the rookie, come in, you see the secondary, I think overall they weren't perfect. I'm not saying McDuffie's not better than those guys, but when you see the defense not look completely lost out there, does that give you a little hope of what life might look like if they were to move on from Trent McDuffie?
You know, it's interesting you talk about that. I don't know if I looked at it that way, but I do understand that maybe you do have to walk on him if you think that a edge rusher who I think could affect more than just one person would be better. So that, I mean, given the chance, you'd love to have McDuffie on your team. It'll be interesting to see, but this is the one thing we know in the era of the salary cap, which has been going on for quite some time, obviously, which is you got to make tough decisions. And when you've signed people like you have in the past with the Chiefs and to multiple top-tier contracts, if not the top paid at their position, these are the tough decisions you have to make and contemplate.
Yeah, when you have the highest paid center, the highest paid guard, the highest paid kicker, you had, I think, the highest paid tight end this year, one of the highest paid defensive tackles in Chris Jones, and one of the higher paid quarterbacks in Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
Yeah, you're going to have to be finding some ways to save elsewhere, and the Chiefs have done a lot of that traditionally in the secondary as well as at wide receiver. I was talking with Matt Derrick a little earlier on in the show. Kendall Gammon is our guest. We were talking about the long snapper, James Winchester. We're trying to figure out how long can he play? How long can a long snapper play, especially in today's NFL with some of the rules protecting long snappers? Can he go until he's 50? Can he set a record out here?
Could he? Probably. Will he decide to? Probably not. But he'll probably play 15, 17 years, assuming that nothing happens to him physically, which he probably won't. He's gotten by this long, and as you said, they've tried to protect the position a little bit more than they used to when I was playing, which is evidenced by when you hear me talk sometimes. But all the same, yeah, I mean, he's one of the best, not to be the best in the league. So and I say that all the time.
Yeah. When it comes to what Chris Oladokun did in this game, Kendall, 13 of 22, 66 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, took care of the football, made a couple of unscripted plays that looked really, really nice. They didn't really task him moving the ball down the field a ton in this game. If, for example, the Chiefs are going to miss Patrick for a few games next year, again, we don't know. Maybe he's back week 1. That's the hope. That's the goal. But let's just say maybe it's week 4, maybe it's week 5. The Chiefs still need to try and figure out a game plan just in case that is the reality. Is Chris Oladokun a guy you think the Chiefs could roll with, or is he going to slide more back into that practice squad role and they think they might look at someone else for that actual backup QB spot?
Yeah, I think it's the latter. You have to go towards somebody who's got some starting experience. And what you talk about is what I think will happen, which is that Patrick, and not because he's not working hard, I just think you have to be very, very careful with the situation and not jeopardize a career for getting him back too early in the season after he hurts his knee like he did. So, yeah, I think they have to find a seasoned veteran that they're comfortable going with. And no, I don't see Oladokun being that person in my estimation.
Yeah. Are you surprised at the lack of youth being played at certain positions? Now, again, they are playing a lot of young guys, especially with the amount of injuries. We know offensive line, Esapole, Chu Godric. We know all of that. But when it comes to, I think, 3 guys that fans really want to see, that is 7th-round rookie Brashard Smith, who scored a touchdown, and Andy Reid banished him to the bench. That's Jeffrey Bossa, who made 2 nice plays in 4 snaps, but all he got were 4 snaps. And that was Jalen Royals, who played 5 snaps total in this game, while you look at the snap count share of, let's go ahead and just say, Juju Smith-Schuster, who played 81% of snaps in this one, Hollywood Brown 60, Worthy 79. I'm okay with Worthy playing a lot, but again, the point remains, some of the 3 youthful pieces that were draft picks hardly seeing anything in this one.
Yeah, what you say, I think, is probably my side of the coin and thinking. It did surprise me a little bit. That being said, I'm not so sure that the coaching staff and, most importantly, Big Red, Andy Reid, just feel like they know what they have and whether they're playing right now or not. The only thing I can come up with, which I think is fair to think, is, okay, if you're playing a lot of veterans, I mean, because you've only got 53 players on the roster, so
sure.
You're playing a lot of starters. You can't set them and play all young people because it's just not possible. And so maybe you make the decision as a coaching staff that we're going to go after it with our best players as opposed to just seeing these others play, and maybe they feel like they've seen them enough when you talk about OTAs and preseason and everything that goes along with that. That's the only thing I can come up with. But I do understand what you're talking about and why people could have a frustration level potentially.
Yeah, I think for me the main one is Brashard Smith, especially after you see him with that touchdown and you go, this is not a Hunt conversation because Hunt has a role in this team and he plays that role very, very well. But Pacheco's not catching that ball and scoring a touchdown on that play, and so he scores, and to me it felt like he's almost getting punished for scoring, as if Andy Reid is saying, hey, we're not supposed to score in the red zone. We're supposed to settle for field goals. What are you doing here? That's almost what it felt like to me. That was my main frustration, was I think Brashard Smith more than anything else.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to what I was talking about, is I think maybe they just believe and know what they have in him right now, but it's hard to understand completely why he wouldn't get more reps there in the running game. But I say it all the time. We're not inside the walls, and we just don't know what they're thinking, which is why we're left to speculate and figure it out. But in general, I mean, you talked about Oladokun, 13 to 22 for 66 yards and the 1 TD. And, you know, not a lot of great stuff going on there, and you kind of joke about the fact that at least he didn't have a run game to help support him either. So it was, it's kind of been it's been the year. I mean, it is what it is. I was concerned about the run game coming into the season, and nothing ever really changed.
Yeah, the regression of Xavier Worthy has been noticeable, and it's been frustrating. Now, I know a lot of people will use the injury as an excuse, and I think it's fair on some of these situations he has been in. I think especially some of the deep balls, he is being misused, right? I don't know if that's all on him. I think, again, it's a little bit like Shamari Connor. Shamari Connor's a good player, but when you put him in the slot against faster players, well, that's not on him. It's the situation you are placing him in. I think Xavier Worthy, to an extent, is in the same boat. I think he's actually a really good intermediate route runner, where Hollywood Hollywood is playing right now, I think, is actually where Worthy thrives in. But the play that really stands out to me that kind of is a microcosm of the season that Worthy has had was when he caught the ball and he was firmly out of bounds. And that, to me, you can't use injury as an excuse. You can't use anything, really, as an excuse. I guess with some of the regression we have seen from Worthy and even the receivers in totality, how alarming is that for you?
I don't know if it's alarming, but I agree with you. He definitely lost track of where he was at, and I know which play you're talking about. You know what? I don't know if this is sitting on the fence or not, but I think when you have a season like the Chiefs have, that's when you start questioning everything that's going on with that, with just more detail. I think at least I'm guilty of just basically giving the wide receiver room more credit than maybe it deserved because they just didn't produce this year, and I would have thought that Worthy and Brown would have done much more with that. So I don't know. I'm not sure if I have these answers. It's frustrating for so many different levels. And then you look at it, I keep going back to the fact also, Sterling, which is if the offensive line stays healthy this year, which is hard to do in general, but if they stay healthy, I think you have a different season, which I think then translates to a lot of different things going on in the receiving corps as well. But that didn't happen, so now we start to scrutinize on a whole different level because the team has the amount of wins they have and the lack of success that they've had.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Kendall Gammon is our guest with the offensive line. One, the emergence of Kingsley Suamataia this year has been amazing to watch. I mean, that has been a real bright spot for this Chiefs team as Kingsley moving from left tackle to now left guard, and he looks like not just a serviceable left guard, but a legitimately good left guard. So your interior is set for the foreseeable future with him, Creed, and Trey Smith. When it comes to the tackle situation, obviously a couple UDFAs are now the guys right now. I'd just like to get your thoughts, obviously as a former offensive lineman as well, on what you've seen from Chu Godric on the right side as well as Esapole on the left.
You know, honestly, I haven't paid that much attention to the right side. I was more interested in the left side for whatever reason. And I think Pope, Esa, if I'm pronouncing it right.
Yeah, Esapole is how we, Esapole,
okay,
yeah.
Okay. I think he's played well. I think that's a tough situation. I mean, man, that's tough sledding on the left side no matter what, let alone having as little experience as these two guys had. And I think they've done a decent job, and it could bode well for the depth of the offensive line in the future, but I don't see either one of them being in the mix when it comes down to it if you get players back and healthy.
Yeah, I think for me, Esapole now falls into the category of I like him as a depth piece on the 53.
Swing tackle, yeah.
Yeah, as a swing tackle. If Jawan Taylor you move on from, which I think is the assumption, if Jalen Moore becomes your right tackle, then Esapole, either one, he could potentially have a training camp battle for that right tackle spot, or two, with the injury concerns in the past of Josh Simmons, that is a nice insurance policy to have, and finding that in a UDFA, again, you give him credit for that, you give him a little bit of a hardship for deciding to move on, and he goes to the Jets, but then he comes back to KC, so it's a lot of a mixed bag in that regard with credit versus credit taken away. When it comes to Travis Kelce, it felt like a guy who was probably playing in his last home game. You saw the emotion on his face, but also I saw a guy who looked spry and played really well. I know the numbers aren't great, 5 for 36, but he had that one-on-one on that 3rd and 6, and he was lined up one-on-one with Pat Surtain, the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, and he didn't use his size, he didn't use his height, he used his mind and his legs to get open. He used leverage correctly, and he used enough of his waning athleticism to get open. And that, to me, was a guy who still has something left in the tank. What did you take away from Travis Kelce, and did you feel stronger or less strong that this is his final home game or final season for Travis in Kansas City?
Well, to go all the way back, even when Patrick Mahomes was healthy in the beginning of the season and everything going on, I always felt like this was going to be Kelce's last season. I still think that. I have no inside knowledge. That's just what I believe. I think he's a guy that would just as soon go out, a little bit earlier than a little bit late and scratch and claw and do things like that. Yeah, he's still got some ability. There's no doubt about that. And I think we're measuring him against what he used to be, which was what I think is the best tight end to have ever played the game, arguably. So it's a hard grading scale. But what I saw yesterday, I know which play you're talking about, but I see some other plays where he stumbles a little bit, and I have a feeling in his mind maybe he recognizes that at times things aren't where they used to be, which naturally makes sense. But I just think this is a guy that doesn't want to go out, struggling, and that's what's going to happen as you move a few years down the line. I'm sure if he played another year, that would be his last, I would assume. But I don't know. I just think this is somebody that sees a bright future with other things going on in his life and maybe ready for another challenge. And I think if it wasn't decided, I think Patrick Mahomes potentially not starting next season would have been the final straw to really make that decision.
Yeah, and again, I think it's a hard one when you have a billionaire waiting for you, right? And so if he comes back, it's clearly not for the money, obviously. It's doing it for the love of the game, for records, for history, and for not wanting to go out with your final season missing the playoffs. Just for a perspective here, he is third in the NFL in tight ends in receiving yards. It is Trey McBride. Kyle Pitts has 15 yards more than him, who everyone is clamoring that the Chiefs should get, obviously because he's that much better than Travis. And then Travis is third with 839. He has 11 fewer yards than DK Metcalf. I'm just throwing that out here, guys. In Travis Kelce's, according to some folks, washed year, he's 11 yards behind now in one more game than DK Metcalf. It's just absurd what he's been able to do in the heights of which he is viewed against. Do you think his brother, now this might be a question you don't know, but I just want to get your thoughts on this either way. Jason Kelce came back for one more year. They lose in the Super Bowl, he comes back one more year, and they get bounced in the first round of the playoffs. Do you think that's any viewpoint on what Travis might do if Jason says, hey, I did the same thing and I wouldn't come back one more because you think it's going to be great, it's going to be glorious, but it doesn't always live in a fairy tale sort of ending?
I would agree with you. I think also he probably looks back to this last offseason where he got himself in the best shape he's been, and I have a feeling more than likely it was the most difficult time he's ever had doing it. And I don't know if he wants to go through that again. And as far as, looking forward to his life and marrying the billionaire a girlfriend and fiance and everything, which we joke about and everything, but let's be honest. I mean, whether he was marrying somebody of means or not, he doesn't have money issues. So that has nothing to do with anything, except I think he's just ready to move on. And, I mean, 13 years playing in this league at the level he's played is no easy task. And I think to get ready for another one with so many questions at the QB position, I think would be very, very difficult, especially with him getting married in the offseason. He's going to want to do different things, and that's going to take away from that time as well. So, yeah, I think he probably has definitely had a few powwows with his brother and probably some other people that he really trusts. He probably talked, quietly, off the record with Tony Gonzalez and people like that, just to get their take on things as well.
Yeah. Former Chief Kendall Gaiman is our guest. When it comes to the tight end room going forward, not great. Like, if he retires, this tight end room is, let's just go ahead and put it, not ideal. Noah Gray on that second contract, I don't know what has happened. He went from that sure-handed, nice secondary, tertiary option where you're like, okay, yeah, the Chiefs trust him, to this year, I have no idea what has happened. Jared Wiley has never either been healthy, or when he does play, he plays just a smattering of snaps. Jake Briningstool, the UDFA, who had at least a little bit of hype surrounding him, has yet to play in a game this season. Injury, and then just obviously he was, I think, a healthy scratch this past week. He was inactive on the 53, I think. Matt Derrick is he's not in the 53. Okay, he's not in the 53, so he was not activated. What are your thoughts on the tight end room going forward? Because the Chiefs clearly need an edge. They clearly need a running back, at least two, and now if Travis Kelce retires, that tight end room needs a huge injection of talent.
Yeah, and I think with all that being said, and it's well put, I think probably the tight end side of things is maybe the most pressing, followed quickly by the edge rusher, and those could easily be 1, 2. But we don't have the tight end, I don't believe, that we want to have on the team right now. So you have to look to the draft or the free agency, and I don't know what that looks like. I'm sure you've studied. Actually, I'm not sure. I have no doubt you've studied it more than I have. So we will see with that. But that's just one of the many things, everything you've talked about that we're talking about, which is going to make the offseason maybe not more interesting, but differently interesting this offseason to see how the Chiefs rebuild from a year that went awry.
Kendall Gammon, I appreciate it. Before I let you go here, do you care or do you watch the college football playoffs?
I care because I think it's kind of fun. I don't have anybody I'm particularly rooting for or against, but I like it. No, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah. I guess for me, I'm sitting here going, my New Year's resolution, because I'm going to go watch the games with some friends. We're going to go and smoke some cigars. So my New Year's resolution is this. I plan to drink more, smoke more cigars, eat more unhealthy, and work out less. What do you think about that?
You know what? Dare to be average, strive for mediocrity, I always say, and it sounds like that's what you're going after.
Kendall Gammon, former Chief, world's greatest long snapper. Kendall, I appreciate it.
Hey, you bet.
We'll take a break. We'll come back. Matt Derrick is going to come and hang out with us. What has he been doing this whole time? We have no idea. The world may never know. But he's coming back right here on The Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Welcome back to the Zone Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sterling Holmes, the Drake, Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest. Thank you again to Kendall Gammon. Matt was looking through his list of old documents on his laptop during that segment, and he found his power ballad list that he had. Solid list. Little less than I expected from Matt. A little disappointed, just a little bit. If I'm being fully transparent with you,
I'm disappointing for me too. Now we started this back like when you had a night show.
This was back on the night show. This may have been back on ESPN Kansas City.
Could have been.
These were home stretch days.
These were home stretch days.
These were the olden days of nonsense that would transpire and take over the show. That might be the word of the day. Transpire.
There you go.
I think that might be like if we're doing a Pee-wee's Playhouse, like that. I think that's the word of the day. I think the Drake. Anytime I say that word from now on, has to start going crazy back there.
I created.
You give me the
this-
clock. What? Why are you shaking your head?
We don't need to do that.
You know me, Petey? Wasn't that Petey the pterodactyl?
We don't need to do that.
Why? Sorry for trying to have fun the day after Christmas. You were just destroying my Christmas spirit. You know what? That's the present I want from you. To act like this is Pee-wee's Playhouse. There's nothing wrong with that.
Never watched it, really.
What? That has your name all over it. You watched
Does
it, right?
kind of.
Doesn't it feel like something he would watch?
It does feel like something he would watch.
Yeah.
I started this document, by the way, December 15th, 2019.
And this is where you and I have a different opinion, and I think I'm the outlier here. Patience by Guns N' Roses, brutal song.
It's perfectly fine. It's not better than November Rain.
Yeah, November Rain is great. No one argues that. Give me Civil War over...
I'll take Patience over
Patience.
Civil War.
You're wrong. Erroneous.
Your mileage may vary.
Erroneous. Here, check this out. This is your power ballad set list right here. This right here
Oh, nice.
is elite. We should have power ballads playing underneath this segment. Just play
should.
some extreme just underneath us this entire time. Some Foreigner. I want to know what love is.
Foreigner has some great power ballads.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with this.
I mean, Air Supply is all power ballads.
That's just what they do. It's Air
Yeah.
Supply. I mean, what else?
It's like they don't have anything other than power
You
ballads.
play some Winger, some Warrant.
I mean, I know people. There are people who love heavy metal that will hate me and everything. But yes, when I close my eyes forever, Lita Ford and Ozzy Osbourne, best Ozzy Osbourne song out there.
Yeah, it's a bad call when Snowblind exists.
No,
Am I right, Drake? When Snowblind exists, you can't say that. Or Supernaut. Come on now. We've talked so much Chiefs. Let's talk power ballads and Black Sabbath here. Let us have this.
oh boy,
Do you want to talk?
Drake's gonna go to commercial.
You want to talk about the disaster that was the Chiefs season, or do you want to hear some Foreigner?
I would rather hear some Foreigner and some power ballads.
Would you rather
Yeah.
hear Skid Row and the glorious pipes of Sebastian Bach?
Yep.
Or would you rather hear about Pacheco getting 9 carries and running into the back of Trey Smith? You know why I know Trey Smith's back hurts? Because Pacheco keeps running in the back of it.
It's 100% true. We could be talking instead, the greatness of Janie Lane and Warrant.
See? Heaven. We could be talking about it.
Heaven is like just one of the greatest songs of all time.
We could be doing this.
It would be in my top 10 of all time.
You have a weird top 10.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that.
You have a weird. I think I'm weird, but yours is.
Oh no, I will readily admit that my taste in music is very mainstream, very pre 21st century, because I largely believe that nothing that's been recorded in the last 25 years is worth keeping around.
Oh, sure, because just that's your old man take.
There might
Yeah,
be a few things here and there, but
because Greta Van Fleet kicks ass.
But give me the top 10 of any random week in the 80s, and all 10 of those songs will be better than anything that's out there today.
You can't fight this feeling.
You can't. No.
Which is us trying to fight Talking Chiefs.
And it's been, this has been consistent. I mean, it's always been top 3, but I think it's finally settled in. My favorite song of all time, "Don't You Want Me" by the Human League.
Boy George. No, that's not Boy George. That's Culture Club.
Yeah.
Thing Culture Club. That's on me. Sorry, Drake immediately looked up at me and got angry.
I
caught myself right away. Stop that. No dirty looks from Drake. Okay? I could listen to some Whitesnake right now.
Whitesnake? Did I have him on the list?
Some Night Ranger.
I did have Night Ranger on the list.
Which players are Whitesnake and which ones? We could do that each band go around. That might be more fun than this. Kip Winger is who?
Now you're talking.
Yeah, now we're going. All right, fine.
Which best Van Halen power ballad?
Oh, man. I'm not a big Van Halen power ballad guy. Honestly.
I mean, I feel like there's only one correct answer, but
What? I'm
When It's Love.
Oh, sure. I know I'm not a big Van Halen power ballad guy.
Well, and as we've discussed before, I'm a big Sammy Hagar Van Halen
Yeah,
guy.
and then you like the guy from what's it, Extreme? No, who's the guy in
Yeah, Gary Sharon.
Gary Sharon, yeah.
The Van Halen 3.
Yeah, we don't need that album.
No, we really don't.
We don't need that album.
I'd still take that over most of the David Lee Roth era, but
Absurd.
I just don't like David Lee Roth.
Absurd, erroneous. Diamond Dave. All right, let's get back into the disaster that was the Chiefs season, because why wouldn't we? Defensive line overhaul, who's back next year, and what did the Chiefs do? How much investment needs to be had? Is it through the draft? Is it veterans? Will we see a change in what the traditional defensive edge rushers look like, a.k.a. the Mike Danas, the Carl Loftuses, the Charles Omenihu, the Ashton Gelati? Will we see some more bend? Will we see more of the, I hate doing this, but the Nick Bonito types, if you will?
I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, the Chiefs just need to bolster that pass rush considerably. And you know, I'm looking at Mike Dana right now. I mean, Dana might be in the danger zone. I mean, because
I assume I don't think he's back next year.
I mean, he's got a almost 11.2 cap number for next year, and you could save $9 million.
Yeah.
By parting ways. So that's probably not great, especially since he's going to be in his age 29 season. You know, Chris Jones is going to be back. Regardless, you know, I have a very hard time believing that he's not back. The only ways that he couldn't would be retirement, which I certainly didn't get those vibes from Chris Jones last night. And he's talking about next year and everything in a pretty proactive way. And, you know, I mean, if you're the Chiefs and you're going to trade Chris Jones, I mean, you're not going to get much from him. I mean,
No.
even if you tried to eat some money, and once again, we talked about earlier, Chiefs can't eat any money. So Chris Jones is going to be back. George Karlaftis will be back. Ashton Gelati will be back. But you need more. I mean, you're not going to and the Chiefs, this is going to be true across the board. What do they need to do? They need to get younger. They need to get faster.
Well, they tried getting younger with Omar Norman Lott instead of Tershawn Warren and saving the money there, obviously.
Yep.
And they tried getting younger by drafting Ashton Gelati. Now, I don't think they got quicker with Ashton Gelati. This is, by the way, unfair. This is completely unfair. This is not a knock on Gelati. He's a rookie edge rusher. There's
Right.
going to be a growing pain here. But I think we can probably agree the upside of Gelati is it's not Nick Bonito. It's not going to be. Now, it's a third rounder. We're not talking first round guys here. But Bonito, I believe, was a third round guy as well for Denver.
Sounds right.
So you have a guy with George Karlaftis that is your edge setter, your motor guy, your pressure guy who doesn't always win quick, but he gets you some pressure. Like we can have a conversation about George Karlaftis in a second, which I want to have, but Ashton Gelati is in that sort of same mold, a souped up Mike Dana, if you will.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, you just look at them from a style standpoint, size standpoint, history standpoint, coach's standpoint. I mean, there's a lot of similarities between George Karlaftis and Ashton Gelati. And having two players like that, it's not a bad thing.
No.
It's just that you need some guys that are different flavors across the board and different style. And, you know, and we'll see. I mean, once again, I always say you have to have a discount for guys coming back from knee injuries and ACLs because they're just not themselves in the first year back. So you're banking on no more Norman Lott being who you think he could be in 2027. If he can give you anything useful in 2026, great. And you'd like to see him back because that dude looked like, at the right size and the right weight, that he has some things going on.
Yeah,
so,
agreed.
If he can get into shape, once again, would love to see what it can contribute in 2026. But honestly, 2027 is when you're really going to hope that you get the best out of him, maybe 27 and 28. But you need something else there. You need a bigger piece. You probably need a true this is the thing. With Karlaftis and Gelati, neither one of them are just a potential game wrecker edge. They're both good players. They can set the edge, do all these little things that coaches want, play the run across the board, do all these things. They can do that. But you need somebody to just, honestly, Chris Jones had to play last night, which is exactly the kind of thing you need on the defensive side.
The one when he pushed McGlinchey directly into Bo Nix, and that was
looked like he was going to sack Bo Nix with McGlinchey.
No, he did. It was impressive. You're right, and this is a little bit of where the issue I think of Karlaftis and to an extent Chris Jones arises. Mike Dana, he has 8 pressures on the entire season. That is 110th out of 112 edge rushers. Charles Omenihu has a pass rush grade of 57. That is 91st out of 112 edge rushers. Ashton Gelati has a pass rush grade 110th out of 112 edge rushers. Now, I'm saying Gelati's a little different. He's a rookie, so I give him some grace. Gelati's run defense ranks 27th out of 112 edge rushers. So, again, he has a role in this team, right? It's not like Omenihu and Mike Dana have been setting the edge incredible this year. They haven't done really anything this year. And so it's hard because those guys who aren't getting paid a lot of money, but there were still a decent contract and they're expected to be players, have had the ire now turned on Karlaftis and Chris Jones because of the monetary value they're receiving, which is fair. You're now treating Chris Jones as a 30, whatever that contract, a lot of money a year player. Karlaftis now is no longer viewed as a rookie contract. He's viewed as a $22 million a year player. And the conversation I've had has been, Karlaftis is actually paid, I think, appropriately for what he's done. People might disagree, but I did this on the show earlier in the week, where he's getting paid like a Gregory Rousseau. Like, I went through the list of guys, and he's right in line. That's what second contracts look like for defensive end twos, right? It's almost a Jalen Watson conversation, if you will, right? Where it's like, yeah, he's not a DN1, but he's a really good defensive end two. You need someone else on this defensive line who can win quick and get those quick pressures, because you know who will clean it up once you get quick pressures from the other guy? Karlaftis.
Yep.
That is where he thrives. And so we can talk about the other side a little bit later on the hour, but they need a guy who can win quick. They need that speed guy. You have so many guys who, quote-unquote, set the edge. Get a different flavor.
Yeah, and, I mean, honestly, the knock against Karlaftis isn't that he doesn't get pressure on the quarterback. He gets pressure on the quarterback all the time.
Yeah.
It's just that he's had difficulty translating those pressures into sacks. And it's odd because his sack numbers compared to pressure rates don't add up. I mean, most players get a lot more sacks based on the pressures that George Karlaftis has.
He has the 10th most pressures in the NFL, 10th most.
And not the 10th most in sacks.
Correct. Looks like 30th is what it looks like because they give him 7. PFF, different.
And you know what? I mean, and normally, the belief in the NFL is over the long haul, these things even out. I mean, sometimes even teams, sometimes teams will have a lot of pressures one year and not many sacks. Next year, pressures go down, but their sack numbers go up. It's crazy. But over the long haul, percentages kind of remain the same and everything like that. George Karlaftis could very well just end up having a season where all of a sudden he just piles up 18 sacks out of nowhere.
I don't know if I could go that high, but I would maybe go as high as 15. I think 18 is you're in.
I was being a little hyperbolic there, but 15, yes, is a perfectly reasonable number. And honestly, I mean, 18 is kind of just a rounding error. I mean, it
sure
could happen. Sure. I mean, what was it? Chris Jones was griping about the other day with that.
The Pro Bowl, the year he had
wasn't a Pro Bowler when he had 15 and a half sacks. So, legitimate case there. Pro Bowl selection stinks. Yeah, absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy that Trent McDuffie is going to make less money next year because he was named to All Pros instead of Pro Bowl teams.
Yeah. Let's take a break, but I do want to continue this conversation on the other side. Drake's getting upset. He has a look on his face that if we don't break now, he might come through the glass. And he looks like look at him. Looks like an angry teacher. His glasses are perched down low on his nose.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty.
I think we just got sent to the principal's office.
The Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Welcome back to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. All right, Matt. So we talked about the issues. We talked about Karlaftis. Talk about the lack of input from really anyone not named Karlaftis or Chris Jones on the defensive line. How much investment do you think is needed to fix the defensive line? Are they close with Omar Norman Lott back, or is this a situation where you need about a first-rounder and a big-named offseason veteran to really turn this thing? Because the Falcons turned it around in 1 year. They went from the worst pass rush in the NFL to one of the better ones this year with 2 first-round draft picks. So it can be done. But is that the outlier, or can that be the norm?
I mean, to me, it's probably a little bit of an outlier. Pull that off. I mean, but again, the Chiefs weren't that far away from having back-to-back seasons with 55 sacks. So they got the scheme to do it. They got the coaches to do it. They've done it before.
The scheme to do it. I don't argue, but how many of these sacks are from linebackers and secondary players where they almost are always towards the top versus actual pass rushers?
I mean, that's the thing. If you're going to do that, you need double-digit sacks from somebody in the interior, which Chris Jones is not getting anymore, and you need them from somebody on the outside, which Karlaftis hasn't done this year. I mean, they've had a step back there on the last couple of seasons. So, the Chiefs need a lot. I mean, I feel like that even if you get Omar Norman Lott back for next season, like I said, you can't expect him to be 100%. Are you going to draft another? You could, because let's face it, you need a replacement for Chris Jones at some point. You got to be starting next year for sure. You got to assume that every year with Chris Jones could be the last year with Chris Jones. So you got to be ready for that. Omar Norman Lott could step into that Chris Jones role. Is he going to be Chris Jones? Maybe, maybe not. So you need to be prepared for the next guy. If the Chiefs go out and sign somebody for a year, and then you address that in 27, I could see that. But you need a significant upgrade at tackle on the defensive line. But honestly, you need a significant upgrade on the edge too. So if you're not getting a day 1, day 2 edge and a significant upgrade at tackle, and whether that means a day 1, day 2 player again at tackle, that's a bare minimum of what you need. And then you just need some bodies on top of that. You need a significant rebuild of that front four.
Yeah, I just think that might be the most important aspect. I know people keep talking about running back, and I don't argue. We talked about tight end. I don't argue. It just feels like the defensive line, to me, is the spot more than any other where the biggest investment needs to be had. Do you think there'll be a player change? That was kind of the question we alluded to earlier on in this hour of the Danas, the Karlaftis, the Gelatis, the similar style of body type. Do you think we'll see a little change in that regard, or will it be the same, more or less, style of player?
You got a couple of guys, this year, right now. Dana, you got under contract, who's going to be 29 next year. You got Eneminihu, who is not under contract for next year, that's going to be 29. Ideally, you get younger at both of those spots and cheaper.
Well, I'm just saying the style of player. Do you think we see a style change?
Like we were talking about earlier, you need a different flavor. You need a power guy on the edge. You need somebody who can absolutely just win and get a pressure in 2.5 seconds or less.
Yeah. Matt Derrick will join you on the other side. We still have cuts, I believe, before the show is over. We'll find out. Welcome back to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sterling Holmes, the Drake, Matt Derrick on this Friday, day after Christmas. We are grinding.
Grinding.
We might play some cuts. I don't know. They'd be old cuts because Jason's gone and he does that, and Darcy's gone and he also sometimes does that. I don't do that. I just say the dumb things.
And it's Christmas week, so nobody said anything too dumb.
Well, we did do a naughty or nice segment on Wednesday, Christmas Eve, and Darcy did call Andy Reid very naughty, and that might be played at some point.
Now, we missed Thursday, right? So that would have been sports and or leisure?
Yes. Are you bummed that we're not doing sports or leisure?
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed. I mean, I usually catch sports and or leisure every Thursday.
And now you're bummed. Yeah, I get some texts from you when I did the music questions.
Because I usually leave Chiefs availability once the practice open session on Thursdays is over. And so I'm usually in my car around 1:30 or so. So I catch most of sports and or leisure.
Yeah, I'm used to those texts, and I feel bad because you are staying this entire time, and you made the joke of, well, what game do we get to play? And I'm like, we don't really do games on Friday.
I know. I mean,
we're a serious show on Friday. This is our hard ass show.
Yeah, you're a serious show with Mick Schaefer in studio.
See, Mick, I didn't say that. That was Matt.
I said that.
He's a very serious man. Are you saying that he jokes around?
I could do my impersonation of Mick Schaefer.
Let me
if
hear
you'd
it.
Like me to?
Yeah.
Okay. Mill Valley football. No, I'm not eating fish. No, I don't want that fish.
What's the fish thing?
Then Caddyshack quote.
Oh, okay.
Mick will swim in infested waters and waterways, but he will not ingest an animal that has been in the infested waterway.
Are you lost, Drake?
A little bit.
Yeah, I'm very lost.
It's my short answer of saying that Nick will not eat fish, but he will put himself into the body of water. But
how do you know he doesn't eat fish?
Because he said so. I mean, he's like said it on your show.
Has he? Is this like something I'm supposed to know?
I thought everybody knew this that listened to the show. And
you are pulling out deep cuts that even the co-hosts don't know. Man, I'm shocked. I want to move on. I'm befuddled. We should have played a game apparently. I don't know. Maybe you're not good at games. Maybe we shouldn't play games. Maybe this is why we have you on for serious Chiefs talk.
Because I would win these games, I guess, is what we're apparently saying here.
Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. That's fair. When it comes to next year, Josh Simmons, I think this is a little interesting conversation here. How much can you count on him? How much can you just say, that's our guy? And that's why I was talking with Kendall a little bit of, well, it's nice now you at least know Esapole can hold his own. I'm not saying he's going to be a starting left tackle in the NFL, but at least he's not an abstract disaster. You have Jalen Moore for one more year on the right side, more than likely. Are you comfortable counting on Josh Simmons, or is that a situation where you might need to invest either on the right side and have Jalen Moore be your swing guy, or do you trust Esapole being that backup just in case?
Well, I mean, I think that's one of the things that this end of the season, if you're the Chiefs, you're feeling pretty good about, because the Chiefs are very, very high on Josh Simmons. I mean, they've penciled him in as the left tackle for the foreseeable future.
Well, he looked good.
He has looked good, and he should continue to get better. I mean, I fully believe that, just once again, based on history, that knee is going to be stronger in 2026 than it was as a rookie this year. So he should be even better next year. And I get it. We don't know exactly what led to the absence, and the Chiefs do.
He played in 8 games this year. 8 games.
8 games, which obviously, the 4 or 5 game absence plus the wrist injury at the end.
So he played 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, first 5 weeks.
Yep.
Then he played 11, 12, and 13.
So he missed 5 games in between. Yeah. Then came back and then had the wrist injury. So played half the season. But the wrist injury, that should not impact him. That's not something that you would consider being an injury that's going to affect him next year. Matter of fact, I mean, he should be ready for OTAs and take part in all of the offseason program. That's great. Chiefs feel like he's their guy. and penciled in right there. They like what they have in Kingsley at left guard. That's a position that they feel like is now resolved for at least a few seasons. Obviously, you've got Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith under contract. Creed is a workhorse. He's never missed a game in his NFL career. I mean, he's got. I mean, I assume he's going to start this weekend. I hadn't thought about his playing streak, so I assume he's going to start this weekend. Even though I think he should probably sit most of the game.
At a minimum, he'll probably start
and then get pulled out.
You think maybe some Hunter Norzad action?
Absolutely. I think you need to see as much of Hunter Norzad as you can.
It's a tank off.
And then Jalen Moore at right tackle. And what do you have? I mean, Esapole as your swing tackle next year, you're feeling pretty good about that. And honestly, Chu Godric is your fourth tackle. You're feeling really, really good about that because he's looked good. So, I mean, from that standpoint, and then you think about, okay, though there's 7 members of your offensive line. You have Hunter Norzad coming back. There's 8.
Let's do it. Let's do that.
You've got some decisions to make.
For folks listening, it's Josh Simmons, Jalen Moore, Esapole, Kingsley Suamataia, Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, Chu Godric. That's 7.
Yeah.
8 is Hunter Norzad.
Yep.
You think Caliendo is back? Or
Caliendo is going to be a restricted free agent, so his cost will go up a little bit, and that might be prohibitive. I mean, if the Chiefs are trying to save 2.8 here, a little bit of money. I mean, you could replace Mike Caliendo. I mean, you maybe just replacing Mike Caliendo with a Hunter Norzad.
Sure.
Maybe you're keeping C.J. Hansen, but same. You're saving maybe a couple of $1 million by bumping it up from Mike Caliendo. Maybe the Chiefs do tender him and they decide to keep him.
So that's at least 7 guys with Caliendo would be the 8th if that's the way they choose to go. So your offensive line, you feel pretty good because I've seen some people, and I think they're a little. I don't want to say misguided, because I feel like that makes me sound like, oh, I'm smarter than you, and that's not what I'm trying to do here. But the Chiefs have invested so much in the offensive line. There's not much more you can invest. At some point, you have the pieces. Whether they put it all together, that's now up to them and the coaching staff. Because you do have a first-round left tackle, you have a second-round left guard, you have the highest-paid center, you have the highest-paid right guard, and you have a very highly-paid right tackle. Now, if you want to talk about backups being a little, undrafted, a lot of undrafted guys back there, that's understandable, but you're not having first-rounders necessarily as undrafted guys. Denver's backup tackle is Frank Crum, 7th-round guy, or was he UDFA? Right, like that's pretty normal.
It is pretty normal
in the backup landscape here in the roles. So I think the Chiefs' offensive line is fairly set for next season. I don't have hardly any concerns, and maybe you feel different, other folks do, but I think this offensive line is good. I think there's enough pieces, and that either comes down to, do you trust Andy Heck or not to get it right?
That's where I would just tweak what you said with one word. I would replace good with talented. Okay. I think this offensive line has a lot of talent. Has it played to the accumulation, the aggregate of its talent? No, I don't think it has. I think it's underachieved. But you've got talent at each and every single one of those positions, and you've got talent at the backups at those positions, as has, I think, been evident this year. Look what this line did to the Broncos yesterday. And even if you want to say that the Broncos phoned it in a little bit or dialed it back, still they gave up 1 sack to this Broncos front that is trying to set a record for most sacks in the season, and I don't think they dialed it back yesterday. I think it was you probably benefited from having the Broncos on a short week on a Thursday. And
sure.
Probably had a little bit of their energy zapped, and then having to go on the road on top of that helped. But hey, they performed well. But once again, this team cannot run the football because their blocking schemes and what they do up front, they got exposed. I mean, I think this is the one of the biggest issues that the Chiefs just underestimated in 2025. And I'm just a little surprised because I thought it was so blatantly obvious, is that, Vic Fangio just took the 2 weeks going into that Super Bowl last year and absolutely put just a magnifying glass on the Chiefs' offensive deficiencies in their blocking scheme and just absolutely blew it apart for the entire league to see. And that's exactly what's happened this year. The Chiefs didn't change anything. They're using the same concepts that they've been using the last few years. they've been exposed. They can't continue to do this. And if Andy Heck can't change it, then they need to change Andy Heck.
Because he is the run game coordinator as well, correct? Am I wrong in that assessment?
I believe that is correct.
I thought it when we hear him on the on the podium and it goes through the intros and stuff. I thought that's what it was. So I apologize if I'm getting that wrong. I'll look that up in a moment. So if we think they're talented, then that would be a coaching issue. Wide receiver, do you feel the same way? Because wide receiver, I have almost felt that they are talented. I know people want to see another investment in the wide receiver. I'm not saying there shouldn't be at least some investment, but you did spend a first-rounder on Worthy, a second-rounder on Rashee Rice. You spent not decent money, but fine money on Hollywood Brown. You brought back Juju Smith-Schuster. The unknown of Tyquan Thornton had actually been your best guy. You spent a fourth-rounder just recently on Jalen Royals. I mean, it's not like you're sitting here. I mean, how many? You look around the NFL. Look at the San Francisco.
Yeah.
Jawan Jennings is the wide receiver 1. Demarcus Robinson's their wide receiver 3.
And
Sky Moore is getting play.
I know nobody wanted to do it. Because I'm trying to. I think it was. Well, maybe I'm trying to remember. I think Jawan Jennings, this tender he signed, I think was a second-round tender. The 49ers offered him. I would have done that. I mean, if I was the Chiefs, I would have given up the second-round pick to go get Jawan Jennings.
Now, and he's an underrated player, but the point remains the Bills. Look at the Bills. The Bills aren't loaded at wide receiver, right? The Patriots aren't loaded at wide receiver. To me, I think the point remains is I think this is a relatively talented wide receiver room, and we have not seen that production translate. Injuries play a part, but every team has injuries. I'm almost a no excuses, just results for the most part. There's always going to be circumstances when Patrick Mahomes goes down. Yeah, now some numbers will take some hits. I get that. But when you're a wide receiver, injuries are part of the game. It's not like they missed every single player. They at least had Rice or Worthy in almost one or the other in almost every single game. Most. It's been disappointing, man. And that again comes down to, is that scheme, is that coaching, or is that talent?
I mean, going through the room here, Rashee Rice played 8 games, 571 yards. That's what, I mean, if you ask the Chiefs, what would they say about that? I think they would say that was a little below expectations because they reviewed Rashee Rice as a true number 1 receiver. So
should they?
1,400-yard guy? Well, I mean, this would say that he's pretty close to it. I mean, 571 in 8 games over 17-game season, that would be carry the one denominator. I mean, that'd be about a 1,200-yard guy. So, and especially for if you're a 1,200-yard guy, well, I was going to say you're on a 1,200-yard pace coming off a 6-game suspension and the injury from last year, that tells me you probably are a number 1 receiver. But they didn't have him enough this year. That was an issue, and and there were some inconsistencies. He. And once again, going back to the injury, I mean, I think that's part of it. He had trouble getting separation this year. Let's see how he looks next year. I mean, and again, that maybe that's an area where you want to make a change in coaching. Chiefs like Connor Embry. Think he's got a lot of potential as an up and coming coach. Is he a wide receivers coach though? That's a fair question. And they have a guy who looks like he could be a pretty good wide receivers coach coaching running backs in Todd Pinkston.
Just switch him is what you're saying.
So maybe you just have some guys in wrong positions.
Just switch them.
I don't know if I would switch him, but, like with Joe Blameyer, they moved him to, that pass game coordinator spot. I mean, you can always create – if you got young up-and-coming coaches that you like in the NFL, you can create positions for them. I mean, you can – have a,
of course,
inside run game coordinator, short passing game coordinator. I mean, anymore you can pretty much make up any title you want to. I mean, I think used to just be like in college, the teams that wanted the stash coaches, so they had like 17 video coordinators.
Yeah. but just back to the question, where do you think the wide receivers fell short this year? Was it scheme? Was it coaching? Or was it the actual players / talent?
I think a lot of it, honestly, was the players. Because I don't think – I mean, and part of it, once again, I mean, Rashee Rice, in the time that he was there, was almost up to expectations. A little bit below, but almost to expectations. But when calculating the injury and the suspension, I think he was kind of right there. Do I want more out of Rashee Rice? Yes. Do I think that there's some things that he needs to work on? 100%. Xavier Worthy, I think the injury absolutely was a factor.
Sure.
But again, what is Xavier Worthy? I mean, he had a really nice year last year. But I feel like, a nice year for Xavier Worthy is about 1,000 yards. Maybe give or take.
Well, I think people see the Chiefs wide receiver room, and this is the high-end outcome. You see the Detroit Lions. You see Rice like Amon-Ra St. Brown, and you would say you would see Worthy like Jamison Williams, right? I think that would be at least the top two guys. When it comes to Isaac Tesla, I don't know if you would say, could Jalen Royals be that? I think he's been a red zone guy for the Lions, but pretty much that's been the majority of his tenure so far. But I think that's what you would want to see, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you don't see that comp. But when it comes to stylistically, those two guys come to mind.
Yeah, I mean, I think
stylistically,
probably. I think obviously the thing you'd run into with Worthy is just that Worthy is, really small. I'm on Ross St. Brown's got to be. He's got like 25
Rice.
pounds on him.
That's right. I was saying Rice. Jamison Williams would be like that's your deep ball guy, while Rice would be the Amon-Ra St. Brown, the intermediate guy, the short game, the guy you would trust on 3rd and 3, for example.
Yeah. Yeah, Williams is a little bit lighter than I thought he was.
He's very skinny.
He's probably still got a good 10 pounds at least on.
I'd say 10 pounds, 10 to 15.
But again, do I expect Xavier to? If I was given a choice between those two, I'd probably still take Jamison Williams. But
between him and Worthy?
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah. Jamison Williams had 1,000 yards last year. I think he's 1,000 yards this year. Yeah, you're taking Williams over. I'm saying this would be the outcome, the highest outcome potential would be that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, if we put it this way, like Rashee Rice, you expect to be a number one receiver. He was close to being that this year when he played. Worthy, you expect him to be a solid number 2. He wasn't that this year.
No.
Now, the injury, I think, took a lot of that. But once again, we saw last night, there was a mistake right there that was a rookie mistake. You can't be making those mistakes in year 2. So he's got things to work on. I think the rest of the room, to a degree, we have just collectively overestimated. Hollywood Brown is either that receiver at this point in his career, or he's just a bad fit for this offense. And it could be both. Both are true. Maybe he's just a 500-yard receiver now. He's not. And he only had 1,000 yards once, and that was barely.
Yeah, I thought people. This is what I thought he would be. I thought about 600-ish yards would be Hollywood Brown this year. Now, part of that's because I thought Worthy and Rice would be feasting, so that played a part. But I think Hollywood Brown is fine as a wide receiver 3. I still think that 500, 600 yards as a wide receiver 3 is the going rate in the NFL.
Yeah,
it's not like Hollywood Brown's a bust or a bum.
Not a bum, but. I think what you were hoping for in Kansas City is that he would perform like a number 2 receiver. And he's been closer to a 3 or a 4.
I think he was a 3 this year. I think that is about the 523 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 5 in 15 games. To me, that feels very wide receiver 3-esque. I don't know how many teams have wide receiver 3s that go for 800 yards, 900 yards. You don't.
Well, this team did when...
Well,
they were cooking with gas.
Yeah, when Patrick threw for 5,200 yards, sure.
And I'm factoring Kelsey into this too. Back in the day, they had a couple of 1,000-yard receivers with Kelsey, and you'd have Sammy Watkins giving you another 700, 800.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's what, in theory, in this offense, Hollywood Brown should be. Is he? No. Was Xavier Worthy this? Both those guys, you would say, hey. Were these guys 2019 Sammy Watkins? No, I don't think either one of them were.
But I don't think they were supposed to be.
I think they were. I think that's what the Chiefs were hoping that they would be. Especially Worthy. Being at least.
To me, Worthy is the one that we point to, which again, so you're saying more it's the player, less so than the coaching or the scheme.
In those cases, I do think it's more the players, because I think that there's I think we collectively overestimated the ability and talent of this receiver room. And there could be some coaching issues. There could be some coaching and there's things in there too, because I see these receivers doing things that the Chiefs receivers didn't used to do. And I joked about it the last couple of weeks, but I'm dead serious. I mean, I would put a tape of Chris Conley cut-ups and just show that nonstop in the receiver room until these guys figure out that when your quarterback breaks out of the pocket, you keep working, you keep running, you come back to your quarterback. Juju did that for Chris Oladokun last night.
He did,
and
and
came
it
up
was
with
a big play, yeah.
It was a big play. And yet, if you go and watch the All-22 for most of this season, you're going to see like 3 Chiefs wide receivers on almost every play when when the quarterback gets out of the pocket. They just hug a tree or the nearest defender and stand there. And it's just like, no, you gotta keep running, you gotta keep working, because you've got a quarterback that if you keep running and you just try and find some green space, he's gonna find you and you're gonna make a big play. And the Chiefs, once again, they used to do that. But do they have the receivers that are collectively doing that have that mentality? Are they being coached to do that? There's something wrong, because they just don't do that anymore. And when you've got a quarterback who's basically built to do that, you gotta work with your quarterback.
We'll take a break. I want to talk about this a little more on the other side, as far as who might be back, who's gone, and what we think the investment might look like in the wide receiver room on the other side. The Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Welcome back to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB, Sterling Holmes, the Drake, Matt Derrick. It does feel weird when you have a day off in the middle of the week and then you come back and it's a Friday, because it kind of feels like a Monday, but then you get the gloriousness that is, oh, I just have to come back to work for one day. It's awesome.
It's weird. Well, and you have a typical, usually more Monday to Friday job. My job is not Monday to Friday, so I never know what day of the week it is.
You're just winging it. You're just winging it.
Usually your Monday is on a Wednesday, it gets really kind of weird.
Yeah.
So but then again, I don't necessarily have a full day off. During like a regular NFL week. Usually there's at least something going on every single day.
Something you need to break or talk about or
it's
discuss.
not necessarily like a full 8-hour day, but there's at least even on Saturdays there's practice squad elevations and everything.
Which is always a real treat for you.
It's a real treat when, you have a year like this year.
And you have to write a 3-page article on Zach Pickens.
And the Chiefs are adding and putting 5 guys on injured reserve and Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
Do you think we'll see Dameon Pierce at some point this year? Is that, I guess, one game left?
Andy Reid seemed to open the door for at least week 18 that there was a possibility. When, we asked about, if Dameon Pierce was going to be available this week, he said, probably not this week. But so maybe in week 18. But again, I feel like a little bit of picking up Dameon Pierce was very Tyquan Thornton-esque in the Chiefs just picking him up at the end of the season and to see what he's got and be able to then maybe have him around in the offseason and go from there.
Yeah, it was an intriguing pickup. He's a bigger-bodied guy, 5'10", 215. Everyone's probably seen the play that he made at Florida when his helmet popped off and he still was fighting and I think scored a touchdown. It was something you shouldn't have done. But he was also a 4th-round draft pick in 2022. Did he have a 1,000-yard season? Yeah, his rookie year, he had 939 in 13 games. Incredible as a rookie. Got injured. Really just fell out of favor down there in Houston. And I don't know. Maybe that's all we should take away from this is he was a running back that had one really good year and then fell out of favor. But do you have any expectations for Dameon Pierce? Should we have any expectation for Dameon Pierce, or is this, again, like you said, Tyquan Thornton, and maybe we could be pleasantly surprised by a guy who had potential at one point?
Yeah, he very much feels like, to me, because you look at the numbers in the career arc, and it's going to look that way too. You put his numbers up against Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Isaiah Pacheco, and you almost feel like it's the Spider-Man meme. It's they're all very, very similar as far as their first 3 or 4 years in the league go. And that's why Dameon Pierce, it could just be a change of scenery is all he needs, and he's gonna pop back up. It could be that he's just could become a useful 2nd or 3rd running back. But is he the guy that can take this offense to the next level? I would say 98% chance no.
Yeah, I would agree. Again, I think of it as Tyquan Thornton. Let's be pleasantly surprised because I don't think anyone thought Tyquan was going to make the active roster before training camp started. I
thought he had a chance. Okay, so I just thought once again, it just seemed like he was a perfect fit for this offense.
And you would have been correct. I didn't have him really much of an opportunity until midway towards late training camp. I was blown away, and I think the Chiefs were as well. And so let's see if Dameon Pierce could be the Tyquan Thornton heading into next season. Going back to the wide receiver room, we never finished this conversation necessarily. Just how much investment needs to be had in the wide receiver room? Who's coming back, and who do you think is gone?
I think Hollywood's gone. I don't think there's going to be an extension on that experiment. I think they're going to be moving forward. So Rice and Worthy will be back. Juju, I imagine the Chiefs will probably try to, like you say in college, they'll try and over-recruit over Juju, but if they can't find somebody better, I could see them coming back to him. Tyquan, I think they would like to try and keep. He is going to be a free agent, so not restricted anyway, an unrestricted free agent. But again, there's going to be a lot of teams who aren't interested in Tyquan because he may not fit what they want to do. So he may not be super expensive. I think he'd be interesting. We talked about the possibility that Brashard Smith is going to be moved to receiver, and maybe he's in the conversation for that picture for next year.
If he moves to receiver, is he slot? Is he just a gadget guy? Or
That's the question, yeah. I mean, I don't know if he'd be a slot guy because the Chiefs have some other receivers that they kind of like to work in there. I mean, but body size wise, that probably is his best fit. I don't know if he's going to be a super contested catch kind of guy. And again, it's with his size and everything, he's sort of a guy that you want to try and get the ball in space. So maybe he does just become a gadget guy. Like I said, I mean, if his comp is Dexter McCluster, that's kind of what he would be. Be primarily a gadget guy. And I do. Here's the thing: is that I think that the Chiefs could bring back the majority of their receiver room, and you can add Jalen Royals into that. Because at this point, I mean, we're talking about you're getting to 5 or 6 guys right there. They could. I like Brashard Smith as a returner. Tyquan can probably do that. I still don't think that's his best strength, but he can return kicks. Jalen Royals, in theory, could return kicks. If they were able to get their hands on another return specialist, that would be ideal. I think that'd be great.
Are you moving on from Nico in that regard?
I like Nico, but Nico's best quality is just reliability.
I would agree.
He's not explosive, but he's reliable. And I thought it was just really interesting at the end of the season. We saw a lot of returns from some guys who are much more electric than Nico is.
I mean, Brashard Smith, his last game, had that big return.
And the punt return, that was really nice.
The
nice
punt
one.
return, yeah.
But we also saw a lot of really electric and explosive kick returns out to the 25 that Nico would probably have taken to the 31 in a very boring fashion.
Sure.
So, and if you could start breaking some of those, I mean, I'll take returns to the 25 if you're going to take one all the way back for me on occasion. But the Chiefs still haven't gone to that. But I will say this: the best way to improve that running back room is to get yourself an elite running back. If you can get yourself, the Chiefs, a top 5 running back, this would be the number 1 offense in the league. Even if Travis Kelce doesn't come back.
Let's say top 15. I think top 5 is bullish as far as what you could actually get. Because you're not getting you're not getting Jonathan Taylor. You're not getting CMC. You're not getting Jahmyr Gibbs. You're not getting Bijan Robinson. You're not getting Saquon Barkley.
What about Jeremiah Love?
I don't think that's top 5.
Who knows?
Well,
I'm not.
By the way, we're not doing a rookie, because Amari Hampton would fall in the same category of top 5. No, he's not top 5. He's a rookie. What are we doing? Ashton Genty was 3rd overall, 4th overall. He's not top 5. What are we doing? Come on.
And I'm not.
Don't do the Family Guy thing of where there's 2 things. One's a boat and one's a box. And he goes, what's in the box? It could be anything. It could even be a boat. You know how much we wanted one of those. So then get the boat. We'll take the box. That's what you're just doing the Royals, what they did for 20 years when it talked about Alberto Mondesi. The unknown is is mostly greater than what the actuality is. So I'm not going to sit here and say Jeremiah Love as a rookie would be a top 5 running back. That to me is asinine. So can they get a top 15 guy?
I mean, if they get a top 15 guy, then maybe they're a top 10 offense. But it would elevate the receiver room. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Because, we were talking during the break, and we were all talking during the show a little bit about the Lions.
Yes.
I mean, the reason why their guys are so good, because they've got a legitimate run game. I mean, they got a couple of guys, but Jahmyr Gibbs is also able to catch the ball out of the backfield, which also makes the life of the receiver so much easier.
Okay, so David Montgomery just signed a 2-year contract. I was trying to see, because he's fallen out of favor a little bit in Detroit. He's been getting fewer and fewer carries. It's been more or less the Jahmyr Gibbs show. They're not going to cut him. So I'm just trying to think of names of guys.
There could be guys that you could maybe push to being top 5 guys if they were in this offense. I mean, Breece Hall's going to be a free agent. Devon A-Chain potentially a free agent.
Let me go to 2026 free agents. Let me look at running back. Let me just get a quick little look-see. Najee Harris, no. Austin Eckler, no. Travis Etienne.
Yep.
Javonte Williams had a nice bounce back year in Dallas. Rico Dowdle, who has revitalized his career in Carolina. Brees Hall, Kenneth Walker, the always injured J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, no. Do not, no.
Those are the main names. Rashad White, if you're looking at that kind of pass catching back down there since Bucky Irving took over, obviously, in Tampa Bay. Those are the main names, it looks like, right here that folks could be looking at. Any of those names stand out to you? Any of those names you think the Chiefs should or will take a look at?
I mean, I feel like Etienne, Brees Hall, Kenneth Walker would all be interesting. I mean, I wish the Chiefs had signed Javonte Williams last offseason. That's the guy I would have signed. And maybe I would have been wrong. Maybe he would have just busted in Kansas City. But, and when the conversations were like, hey, do you go after Elijah Mitchell or a J.K. Dobbins or a Javonte Williams, I was team Javonte Williams. So every once in a while I do get things right, Sterling. I mean, I'm wrong a lot, but
Javonte Williams had over 1,200 yards this year and 11 touchdowns.
Yeah. And, I mean, like, what, $2.5 million, I think, was his contract?
That will play, by the way.
Yeah.
Rico Dowdle, same thing as Elijah Mitchell. I believe he was actually cheaper than Elijah Mitchell. Sometimes you just got to get it right.
Yeah.
It's not always the investment you put in, but the get it right business.
And I'd still keep Kareem Hunt around as a short yardage back.
I would too. He has been one of, if not the best in the NFL in that situation. Even yesterday with some backup guys, you just saw him fighting his way through. I like Kareem Hunt still in that backup third down, short yardage situation role.
Yeah, anytime he got 2nd and 1, 3rd and 2.
Did he get stopped
4th and
once
1
yesterday? I don't think he got.
I don't think
once.
he did. I mean, the dude's been like 94% success rate or something in these situations. I mean, he is literally better than the tush push.
Yeah, phenomenal. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We might have some cuts. We might. He says small cuts on the other side. The Zone Sports Radio 810 WHB. Welcome back to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB, wrapping up this post-Christmas edition. All right, Matt, you ready?
Let's do it.
Drake,
Let's
you
roll.
ready?
There's only two.
All he needs two. Just need a little bit. Matt Nagy.
Super ultra naughty. The naughtiest, some would say. He's naughty by proxy.
I was gonna, for a second, I thought you were going to say, what's his present? Is it going to be handcuffs, and you're going to handcuff him in Tennessee so he can't get on the flight back? Makes sense, right?
Wow.
We played a naughty or nice game where some people were naughty, some were nice. Do you get a present or not? And so, according to Darcy, Matt Nagy was extremely naughty. And I said, well, what's his gift then? Some guys still get gifts, even if they're on the naughty list, right? You still get something sometimes. When I thought, well, maybe you can give him handcuffs. Because then you could leave him in Tennessee, and then we couldn't get on the flight back. That just makes sense, right?
I mean, in some circles.
I don't know if I've ever washed clothes. Stop.
That was a long pause.
Stop.
That was a long pause after that.
Well, it's out of context. I wash clothes all the time. I like doing laundry. Drake, he didn't wash his new quarter zip, okay? You don't always wash new clothes. You don't have to. I don't know if I've ever washed clothes. How dare you, sir?
I mean, and I don't take it the wrong way, Sterling. I
always smell good.
I would assume that you didn't do a lot of clothes, but I also would assume that you had somebody to do that for you. Like, just a valet or
a butler?
Exactly. I mean, not like a
I
high-end
do radio.
butler.
What do you think?
Not a high-end butler. But
how am I affording a butler?
You seem to have a way.
What could they possibly buttle?
That is a word, by the way. And the fact that you know that that's a word suggests to me that you've had a butler in the past.
I read books. Matt.
You have a way of living above your means.
Well, yeah, because you don't have to pay credit cards back, do you?
Because you roll with celebrities.
Well, if you just cut up a credit card and throw it away, they can't find that. It's cut up. It's gone.
You shoot around with the Sixers and all these things, and
I do things. Doesn't mean that I have a butler.
But you wear nice clothes. They always look nice.
It's called on sale. I'm a frugal man.
I mean, I know you're married, but I don't expect your wife to be doing those things.
No.
So I figured, you had a guy.
I don't have a guy. I have me. Me, myself, and I. It hurts. All right.
I mean, it's a compliment
We
because
have
you always
50
look nice.
seconds left. Christian Fulton, is he back next year or not?
I think he's back.
Brian Cook, is he back next year or not?
I think the Chiefs need him back.
Shamari Connor, back next year or not?
Yeah, I think the Chiefs want him back.
FAU, back next year or not?
Probably back next year.
Mike Caliendo, back next year or not?
Probably not back next year.
Drew Tranquil, back next year or not?
He's got that one more year left. I don't think they have a replacement for him, so I think he might be back.
Noah Gray, tight end 1 next year or not?
Probably.
Ugh. Kareem Hunt, back next year or not?
Yeah.
Matt Derrick, back next Friday or not?
It's questionable.